It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn.
It's a Monday. Sports Time is here. Gabe Kuhn, Brett Norsworthy, Bryant Dake is producing the program. First hour of our show brought to you by Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis, and we're always live from the Family Leisure Studios, where family and fun come together. Family Leisure's 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Lot to get to today. Tigers play Lemoyne-Owen yesterday. They won pretty handily. As far as basketball goes, though, it was all Grizzlies this weekend, back-to-back in L.A. They split them, and they were very close last night to beating the Lakers. College football, Tigers drop another one, 4-4, 24-7. Peter Parrish struggled. As far as the NFL slate goes, have a lot to discuss there. Chiefs are 3-4 and at the bottom of the AFC West. And at the top, you have the Broncos and the Raiders. Unbelievable to think about. The Bengals also smash in the faces of the Ravens, 41-17. A lot to get to. We'll do our college football and NFL extreme overreaction and who won the weekend there as well. Brett, how was your weekend?
My weekend was almost perfect. I don't have a complaint one. It was spectacular, truly, from Thursday night on in Oxford through the final score when the clock hit zeros and we got through post game, and the weekend was it was marvelous.
Was it buzzing
all the ceremony.
Down there? Buzzing down there?
Excuse me?
Buzzing down there? Everybody having fun?
It was
win helps.
Fun had ball.
Win helps.
The win made the weekend. Everything else would have been just nice, kind of just pat you on the head. Nice little weekend, Ole Miss. But the win keeps, some crazy dreams alive.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people, I've done stuff today on other stations. I had friends ask. I'm going to ask you, somebody that played and know.
Right.
How good do you think? How good do you think this Ole Miss team is?
I think they're very good, and to see what they did this weekend, just workman-like attitude about it. LSU is a dangerous team. They're in a spot right now where they know their coach is leaving, so you don't know what you're going to get week to week. And they competed really hard. Matt Corral, you could tell he was a little bit sore, still ran the ball 12 times, did what he needed to do to win the game. They ran the ball heavily. Snoop Connor was fantastic. I think this team is very good, and I think they are a no question, New Year's Six caliber team, but down the stretch you have tough games that you have to win, and we talk about it every week. When you get to those mid-level SEC teams, the Auburns of the world, the LSUs of the world, there are losses that could be sprinkled in there, but I was very impressed with what they did this weekend, Brett. Very impressed.
And we've talked about show me. I don't think Ole Miss played great Saturday, and LSU sure did not. I don't think they're out of the 6-1 record for Ole Miss. Somebody asked me, said, what do you think about the record? I said, well, 6-1, and I know in a lot of years, after 7 games, Ole Miss hadn't been 6-1, right. So I sure want to take it. I don't know that there is there's a pelt on a wall of a fantastic team. Louisville, pretty good. Arkansas, pretty good. Tennessee, pretty good. LSU, a lot going on, as you well enunciated. This time next week, if there's a win over Auburn will kind of fit in that category as well. Auburn's one of the teams that's looking for, to end October strong and have that jet propulsion November. David Cobb is going to join us at 4 o'clock like he does every week. And when we get to him, Gabe, I'm going to say it. This is the point every year, and it makes me mad at myself when I do it, that I get to a little too much paralysis by analysis with the SEC. How good is it really? Is it really that good? And then at the end of the year when it's won it all, it's had 2 or the 4 teams in the playoffs, and it's kind of a clean sweep of the award season, and they mow everybody over in the bowls, and then everybody tells me the bowls don't matter, but they matter when they beat the SEC.
Of course.
And then the draft comes around, and the SEC leads everybody in the draft, but it's ESPN bias and Mel Kiper bias at the draft, which is the craziest conspiracy of all time, that the best football league in the world wants to restock its players because of a thumb on the scale or conspiracy or bias. And then I go, what was I thinking back on October 25th when I didn't think it was that good?
AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. Text in. Let us know what your thoughts are on everything that happened this weekend. Also, watch us live, message us, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. When we get to our winners, I'll explain it later, but the SEC, I mean, it was a good weekend for them. As far as Bama right now, when you're talking about the college football playoff, the conversation finally came up. Bama with 2 losses, a loss in the SEC championship. Are they in? And after watching Oklahoma struggle their butts off in Lawrence against Kansas, after watching Cincinnati struggle against Navy, I mean, this is the year where even the SEC loser, if Bama gets their second loss to Georgia in the SEC championship, it seems like they'd still be in position to be one of the top 4 teams.
So much football to play. We're going to have a Big Ten cage elimination match. It's going to be those great matches when they set up the 2 rings and they toss you from one into the kind of the secondary one, and then when you get tossed from that one, you're out. That's what the Big Ten's getting ready to go to starting next weekend with just a round robin of elimination. What if they eliminated everybody? Penn State now, Gabe, is the wrecking ball of all time for the Big Ten. It can do such damage to its own league, and you still have Oklahoma around. I can explain and I can accept the Cincinnati struggle bus more than I can the OU struggle bus at KU.
100%. That Illinois upset of Penn State this weekend, that was gross. That was disgusting. 9 overtimes. 9 overtimes and the under. I'm here to say, still hit.
It hits. The under still hits.
And you always tell me the life's too short to hit the under.
Life is too short to claw through an under bet. It is just too short. It's just not meant to be spent that exasperated. And in Penn State, that was with their quarterback returning, and they have that kind of game and that kind of loss at home. Now, if they can right themselves, and James Franklin's got a lot of reasons to right himself. First and foremost, for the job at hand as head coach of Penn State football. Mm-hmm. But he's primary he's at the top of the LSU USC talk. How does either of those places go out and say our fix for football is a guy that just went 7-5?
Because of the past success he's had, and he's been around the country.
I've got an answer to that.
Let's hear it.
James Franklin and how it ended at Vanderbilt with the story of the players and the dorm, and his involvement in a cover-up. And
also at Penn State, I don't think enough people talk about the hazing incident that they had 2 years ago. And that was, he
really has been Teflon, hadn't he?
Micah Parsons was part of that. Yetur Gross-Matos, guys that went in the NFL draft were part of that hazing issue. So, it's not, he doesn't have a clean record by any stretch of the imagination.
And who among us really, nobody. I understand that. But at both places with that fresh start, you would think somebody would go after that story. But here's one from the SEC, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. You look at Kentucky's path. Other than Ole Miss and Kentucky, who's got the easier path the rest of the year? Here's Kentucky the rest of the way. At Starkville, home against Tennessee, at Vandy, home against New Mexico State, at Louisville.
Kentucky by a lot, in my opinion.
I think Kentucky by a lot.
Yeah, those are
because they don't have to go to Auburn.
Games. And yes, you could.
And they don't have to play A&M.
You could have a hidden loss there at Tennessee. I think 4 of those 5 games ought to be absolute wins. Tennessee's the only exception. I would look at the rest of their schedule. You go and look at Ole Miss's schedule. You have some games where you could trip up starting this week.
Could go 2-3.
Starting this week, dealing with Auburn, and then in November with A&M. That's a tough game. And I don't think they would trip up against Liberty, but Liberty's not a slouch by any stretch of the imagination. There's going to be built-in, as far as Hugh Freeze goes, there's a little built-in thing going back and forth with that Liberty game. So I would, without question, say Kentucky has the best chance to go ahead and win out and be in better position. But
I don't see how Kentucky goes anything less than 9-3.
They've only lost 1 game at this point. 10-2 is
then the unthinkable.
10-2,
11-1 in Kentucky, the 4 seed in the college football playoff.
I would say 10-2.
When we were talking about building that Roman Coliseum for Mark Stoops, that's the Acropolis, the Roman Coliseum, the Louvre, the Hague, and I can't think of any other. The Great Wall in China. Mm-hmm. Build that wall for Mark Stoops.
But 10-2 should be bare bottom for them. The only loss that I can even see on that schedule is Tennessee, and I don't think they should lose that game even.
I love Lane Kiffin's comeback today when asked about 6-1 and bowl eligibility. And I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but I know where he's coming from on it because he gave everybody the riot act after 5-5 and winning the Outback Bowl. I don't want to hear about any coffee table books. I don't hear about any T-shirts of Outback Bowl. We're proud of it. We sure wanted to win rather than lose.
But
and his words, not mine. But too often, it's one of the problems at Ole Miss. You get real pleased with a little. We're not aiming for a little, and that's what he said today when asked about 6-1. That doesn't do jack for him to be bowl eligible.
And I think that's fair with where they're at right now. I mean, they're a top 15 team, top 10 team now, 10th in the AP poll. Were you surprised this week? Because I was surprised to see Cincinnati still at number 2. I figured they'd take a drop because of that close game against Navy.
I wasn't because I
thought the pollsters were going to do their thing with. I figured they'd drop one spot at the very least.
I applaud the pollsters. I don't think they should because we know, and we talked about it, and it's the same Navy team that when Cincinnati plays them is when the Tigers play them. That whole hypnotic, hide and go seek, 4 corners of football, methodical football.
And going to Navy, I can tell you from experience, is always a relatively sleepy experience. Whether you have to wait all day or you're playing at 11 a.m., that stadium, I mean, it's tough to play in. It's not always filled, but it'll lull you to sleep at times.
That hypnotic nature of it. And Gabe, this one, I want to ask you about it. I know it's your opponent. I know you want to beat everybody, but it's hard to engender a whole lot of hate for that guy across from you at Navy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean contempt, unbridled passion.
No, after the game, you let go of everything that you had predetermined and game film, watching it, and as far as game planning goes, you let go of it, and you go, because I remember we always stood behind them while they ended up singing it at the end of the game, their alma mater. So it's like you have to, and you have so much respect for what they do. But back to Cincinnati, I guess I'm predisposed to believe a close game versus a 1-5 AAC team is going to make Cincy drop. Now, granted, they got help because Oklahoma embarrassed themselves on the road for the most part. But I was very surprised with that. By the way, real quick, was that the first time in that Oklahoma game with Caleb Williams? That's the first time you ever seen the forward handoff for the first down?
It was a critical play. There were so many big plays made. Kansas was right there ready to win the game. The first half, what I couldn't believe, Kansas trying to work on the clock so much, the quarterback had a clear lane to the quarterback or to the end zone and dipped it out of bounds in the first half to line it up and run more clock. They were clock conscious from the opening snap. It was a weird game.
I know Oklahoma ended up taking over and winning that game. I don't think Kansas did anything all that bad to lose that game, though. There was just some crazy plays. They had him stop Caleb Williams on the touchdown.
I thought Kansas may tear the goalpost down in defeat.
The touchdown that Caleb Williams got to go up, and it was a long rushing touchdown. It was 50 plus.
Mm-hmm.
They had him stopped in the backfield
on fourth down.
Yes, and then there was another one, the other fourth down where he grabs it out of his hand. Oklahoma had to do some greasy things to be able to win that ball game, and Kansas, great effort. Got to give it to them.
But I will yield in a magical season for anyone. You've got to have some goofy stuff break your way. So I'll even give Oklahoma. They did win, and like I'm back to my 6-1 about Ole Miss. People asking me what about it? Well, 6-1, played 7 times, won 6 of them. Oklahoma's played however many times and hadn't lost one of them. We will get to Grizzlies talk though. They teased us last night, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Well, I don't even consider that a tease. What John Morant did over the weekend, what he did last night. Unbelievable. And all he can talk about is the missed free throw. He 40 points, 10 assists against the prohibitive Western Conference favorite. He misses one free throw. That's all he can talk about.
But that's something that's going to pay off when it's really go time, when it's in spring of 23, spring of 24. I know people get tired of people selling down the road. But that loss is that's one of those scabs that makes a scar.
And he really carries a mentality of jobs not finished, this sort of Kobe mentality. That's what it is for him. And no matter how well he plays, if there's one play that didn't go his direction and his team loses, it didn't matter. Nothing matters.
Gabe, I love that response. We had a 31-5 game in the NFL. There were some goofy scores out there. We had
Scorigami. We had 2 Scorigami in a row.
We did it.
Right?
You know, you can go to Pro Football Ref and you can put any score combination and see the irregularity frequency of them.
Do you think all our listeners know what Scorigami is?
I didn't know what it was. I'd always been intrigued by that function at Pro Football Ref, but I didn't know there was a group out there for it. Of course, there's a group out there for everything.
Yeah, someone. I want to quiz the text line here without looking it up, and I know you probably look it up. What's Scorigami? Because 2 weeks in a row, I learned it from I think Mina Kimes did a special on it.
She
ESPN.
did a great special on it.
I think is it last year or 2 years ago. She did a great job explaining what it was, but 2 weeks in a row.
She seems to really like the minutia of things, and I like that.
2 weeks in a row, though, Scorigami scores.
Yeah, and now with the 2-point conversion and the frequency of missed extra points, we're landing on. I mean, the NFL used to be 24-17, 21-14, 28-24, 31-24, 31-20. I mean, it used to be pretty pat. I mean, these scores look like 8th grade football scores, don't they? Well, and 8th grade football scores can get goofy with made 2-pointers and missed 2-pointers.
Yeah, but did you see also this weekend how many blowouts there were? It was unbelievable.
And the home team feasted this weekend, and that's rare for the NFL. The home team really feasted. We might be getting settled into that time of year.
Patriots put up 54 points against the Jets this weekend.
54 points scored over an NFL team, and an NFL team 20-point underdog at kickoff with the Houston Texans. It's just amazing. Tonight, final game of NFL Week 7, and FanDuel Sportsbook, they want you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week. Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. Here's what I like tonight. I like Seattle, money line. I like Jameis Winston under passing yards, and I like the over in the game. Fast payouts. Get your winnings now in as little as 2 hours. 2 hours you get paid. Easy to use, safe and secure. America's #1 sports book. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet, so lock in your bet today at FanDuel Sportsbook and get up to $10 back if your bet doesn't win. New to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up today with promo code CASH to also receive a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code CASH. So they know I sent you. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and on the web. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Gabe started this show correctly with the title sponsor of this show. For this hour, it's Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Great offers on all 2021 models and special lease options. The 2022s, they're there and more on the way. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2021 flagship LS500 of the 2022, and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Top story of the day. Grizzlies, 2-1 on the season. Rode back-to-back against the 2 LA teams, some of the best teams in the Western Conference. They beat the Clippers 120-114. It was not fluky in any way, shape, or form. You go look at what Paul George did. Paul George had about as good a game as he could have possibly had. 41, 10, 4, 5 for 12 from
Playoff
3, 15 for 25 from the field. He did everything he could, but the Grizzlies just were better. And against the Lakers last night, 121-118 in defeat. They ended up getting the cover. Ja, 40 points, 10 assists, 5 for 7 from 3. 5 for 7 from 3. I talked about that.
Way downtown once.
I have been saying this since the beginning of the preseason. His green light's there. He wants to. He's cool with it. He will put up whatever he wants to this year. And I think it has a lot to do with Jonas Valanciunas not necessarily being on the floor. And I'm not going to trash Jonas, but I do think Steven Adams, the ball movement that he possesses and just sort of moving the ball a little bit, is huge to what we've seen. Right now, through 3 games, Desmond Bane's a 19-point-per-game scorer. Through 3 games, DeAnthony Melton is an 18-point-per-game scorer. It's a very wing and guard-oriented league, and the Grizzlies are absolutely embracing that. And Desmond Bane has shown, and I just mentioned 19 points per game, he's not just a spot-up shooter anymore. He can make plays off the dribble. I like the makeup of this Grizzlies team. I know it's a small sample size, but they are playing very well, and offensively, they are one of the better teams, especially through 3 games in the Western Conference. Now, also, real quick, you know who the leading scorer in the NBA is, right, guys? He's right here in Memphis. Ja Morant, 35 points per game, has the most points in the NBA right now.
You also know who's undefeated right now, too, going for 4-0 tonight. Bryant Dacus, Chicago Bulls.
And also, the Charlotte Hornets, 3-0, too.
They are.
I tried to warn y'all about both those teams. Nobody wanted to listen.
Hey,
Bryant,
3 games.
Let me offer up my apology now. Please, I seek the forgiveness because we didn't laugh with you. We laughed at you.
Yep. And we were wrong. We were wrong.
We
could
wrong.
admit it.
My top story, Cincinnati Bearcats. They survive. They stay at number 2. What a time for life in football in Cincinnati with the Bengals and with the Bearcats. They stay at number 2 by the voters. So how much Cincinnati contempt, little guy contempt's really out there? Gabe, you said you thought they would drop. I'm glad they didn't. I didn't think they should have dropped. And they go undefeated, and they win the AAC. I think they will and should be not only in the college football playoff, but they should be the 2 seed. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame has 1 loss.
Yep.
And that was at South Bend. That was to Cincinnati. Okay, a lot of people have contributed to Indiana not being as good this year as we thought Indiana would be. Mostly injury, mostly that good quarterback. But Indiana's not as good, but they still won that game when a lot of people had them on upset alert. And for the other teams, Oklahoma's shaky. We wait on the Big Ten for definition. Bama can even be shaky at times. And we have returned to full bore Clemsoning.
We have. But hey, let me pose this really quick before we get to not top story. How much of Cincinnati not moving down is because Oklahoma was bad as well?
It's a soft year. Mm-hmm. It's a soft year. I mean, right, I know it will codify. I know it will congeal. But right now, it feels like Georgia's in, and for the other 3 spots, a legit 10 teams could make up the other 3.
Yep, I think that's
with Kentucky and Ole Miss being 2 of them.
I think that's fair.
Not top story of the day.
I hate to come in here on a Tigers loss, right? They're 4-4. Went to UCF, lost 24-7. And Peter Parrish, here's the thing. I don't want to pour onto him. He had a really tough game. Threw 3 interceptions. Really throwing the ball was just not good enough to go win that ball game. But my gosh, did he give it as much effort as he humanly could. He did all he could personally to try to win that game. It just did not work well for him. I don't know.
Especially on a short week.
I don't know if he can be a successful quarterback for the Tigers in their system. We'll talk about that a little bit in the next segment. But more than that, you look at the special teams blunders. One of your best players, Calvin Austin, misfielding a punt, letting it bounce in front of him, and then letting them get a free possession, letting UCF get a free possession. It's the thing that keeps coming back to me just watching this team is the little things aren't being done right. Special teams, it just has not been good. On third downs, they're not protecting the sticks as well as they should. They're 4-4. Seth Hennigan absolutely needs to be back if they want to get to bowl eligibility. You have SMU, which has just been announced. It'll be an 11 a.m. game in the Liberty Bowl. ECU, Houston, Tulane. Those are all very scary games if Peter Parrish has to be the starting quarterback. I don't know if they win any of them. They're in a very bad spot. Luckily, they have the open week this week to get healthy. We'll see if Seth Hennigan can participate. But Tigers in a very, very fragile spot right now.
They are, and I know you're not. Neither one of us are here to crush anybody or have screaming hot takes about it. But a harder conversation, a more sober conversation about Tiger football, it has to take place when you're 4 up and 4 down. We're going to do that in the next segment. Not top story. The Grizzlies 2-1 for the season. You're right, short sample size, but what a fun start. And this is selling tickets for next Saturday night when they return home. And I hope Ja Mania 1-1 on the 4-game left coast roadie right now after a tough 121-118 loss to LeBron and the Lakers. 40 from Ja. Only 12 from Jaren. That's a night that Jaren's got to get his 20 and help out a little to go with the 40 for Ja. 3 of 12 for Jaren, not acceptable. Play better. It's time for him to be counted on as that second person.
And I will say, the last shot there against the Clippers to seal the game was fantastic. You just have to have consistency out of Jaren Jackson Jr., and he still has to work on that. There's no question about it. That is our top and our not top stories of the day. When we come back, we're going to talk some Tigers versus UCF. The rundown for the day, 4 o'clock, we'll have David Cobb from CBS Sports, as we normally do, to talk college football. 4:30 SEC and our college football recap. 4:45, we give you our overreactions from the college football weekend and the NFL weekend, as well as who won. 5 o'clock, Evan Barnes from the CA will join us to talk Tigers football. Tigers football in a very, very fragile spot, as well as we'll talk about some Grizzlies basketball. 5:30, Monday Night Football preview, and we'll pick that game and give you our big 4 defensive players for the Saints and the Seahawks. 5:45, we'll wrap it up with Taco Bell Crunch Time. But we'll be right back talking Tigers versus UCF on Sports 56, 98.5.
Johnny Radio's Happy Hour has a new time, but with all the same shenanigans. For all you looking for something to make you smile, think, and laugh, look no further. We're drinking from 11 to 1 Monday through Friday. Same style, same great guests, just kicking off the day a little early. Enjoy your Happy Hour, 11 to 1 on Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Hi, folks. I keep hearing about a shortage of good vehicles to purchase these days. Well, I can fix that. Just follow me to Auto Universe Germantown. I was blown away by the amount of high-quality vehicles they have. Something they call affordable luxury, and I would agree. And talk about variety. How about Lexus, Infiniti, Audi, Jeep, not to mention, but I will anyway, Mercedes, Nissan, Honda, Chevy, and Toyota. Tremendous pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, and they're always adding more. Hey, I know this family. They have everything we want under one roof. No haggle, affordable pricing, simplified financing, top service technicians, even collision repair. Remember the old Mazda location in Germantown? That's where they're located, 7300 Winchester, and online at eautouniverse.com. So take it from me, if you want to avoid the new car price but still want a luxury, slightly loved vehicle, head on over to Auto Universe Germantown. Would I steer you wrong? Get it? At Auto Universe Germantown, only the best make it here.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, I started the first micro distillery in the state of Texas with my dog, Dog Joe, at my side. We're still working with dogs out at the distillery after all these years. Learn more about how dogs are a part of life here at Tito's Handmade Vodka at vodkafordogpeople.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka is made from corn and naturally gluten-free. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
It's time to get peace of mind with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty, and Gossett's got the goods to put you on the road today. 2021 Kia Forte, 41 MPG Highway, $249 a month. 2021 Kia Rio S Hatchback, 41 MPG, ready to road trip at $258 a month. Get turbo power with 2022 Kia Soul, $267 a month. And they're not leases, you own them. Forte, $249, Rio, $258, Soul, $267. You want it? We Gossett at Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
72 months at 2.9%, $29.99 down payment. Forte, ME 409-215, MSRP 19,335. Rio, ME 427,894, MSRP 19,755. Sold in 7808-276, MSRP 20,615. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Must finance through Kia on low APR. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/31/21. Dealer stock only.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Couple of texts. The auto's on listener line, 901-360-8255 to follow these people up. Someone says, congrats to Ole Miss. They're officially bowl eligible. I don't think that's all they're looking for, but yes, congrats to Ole Miss there. Someone talks about Cincinnati. They say the most important game for the Cincinnati Bearcats is the Tulane game. It's okay to struggle with them. I would rebuke that by saying you have Tulane here. You're at Tulane. I don't know where that team is mentally. That's a 1-6 team right now.
And Pratt took a big hit.
Yes, and Pratt, we'll see if he can play. I doubt he will because concussion protocol should be pretty serious with what we saw from him.
There's still some spots Cincinnati can come up short. Even home against Tulsa.
SMU.
Home against SMU. At Dowdy Ficklin at East Carolina. I think East Carolina, that they're improving over the course of the year. They could have, should have won Saturday over Houston.
And I could give you that one. I think the last two games of the year are the most important for them. I think they can beat Tulane, Tulsa, South Florida relatively handily. When they get to that SMU game and that East Carolina game at East Carolina, and I'm telling you, I never got to play at ECU, but that is one of the more raucous crowds in the AAC.
And always has been. I mean, a long time ago, what Pat Dye built there, to what Steve Logan did there, and Bill Lewis and others, and continued. East Carolina gave for a few years. They were on the verge of being that sexiest non-power five.
Right.
I mean, they were the one that was gonna kick a door down and make somebody take them, and it got a little undone on them.
When I first got to Memphis, they had Shane Carden, Zay Jones was there. They had a really good team, and it just sort of slowly but surely unraveled on them. And they're sort of getting back to it. And Holton Ahlers, we have been banging that drum for a while. Holton Ahlers is a good quarterback. It's just defensively they never quite have been where they should. And I don't know if they've had the requisite skill position players to be that good in the past 4 to 5 years. But when I first got to Memphis, that was a very good team, always competing for the top of the conference.
Yeah, I got to know a lot of people at ECU. They made pretty, I won't say regular, but often they came, to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Delightful people. That football really matters to them, and Cincinnati better look out. Again, I'll defend them in my top story. I really believe they remain undefeated. They win the AAC championship game. Not only are they in, they should be the 2 seed. Mm-hmm. If they're 13-0, that should be the 3 seed, the 2 seed. 3 at worst. But if they're 4, they just want to be in. But I could see some. We went 13-0. We had to be the 4.
Fantastic sign that they didn't get dropped in the polls this week.
I think so. Now, we know the AP voters and the CFP committee they're radically different.
Yes.
I mean, it's daylight and dark in the difference, and the CFP has had some fun through the years with that first poll. It will tell a lot about if they even want Cincinnati to kick the door down on how they're ranked.
Before we get to more Tiger talk, Tiger football talk, we want your text on that, 901-360-8255. You can also message us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at Twitter, and at sports56whbq.com. Got a quick Ole Miss question from our friend Mark on YouTube. He says, adjustments were made against LSU, 4 on the D-line, punting more, mixing up the running back committee. Is that what it will take to beat Auburn, A&M, and Mississippi State?
That's exactly what it will take, and even throw Liberty in there, Vanderbilt will be the easiest opponent left. Sam Williams is playing some ball.
Yes.
I was stunned that Sam Williams didn't play any better. The whole thing at Tuscaloosa stunned me. I really had that thought of upset that day. It wasn't even going to be upset to me. I really did. I thought Ole Miss was going to win. Just laid the egg of eggs this year. responded from that. Gabe, it shows, and you know this, it shows how nebulous, how one or two plays, how just you take one card out and the whole house of cards can fall. Winning that Arkansas game, Arkansas could have had that jet propulsion the rest of October that Ole Miss has enjoyed. You start thinking you're a little more invincible than you really are at a victory.
Confidence.
You take that shirt off and there's an S under it instead of coming off the field after a heartbreaking loss. Arkansas, they win that game. They might play better at home in Fayetteville against Auburn and win that one, and they're the darling of college football.
There's nothing like the confidence you build in a close win. You're learning how to win ball games. And I say this all the time. In 2013, when I first got on campus at Memphis, that was a team that knew how to lose ball games. They found every single way, even against the best teams in conference. Louisville at the time, UCF lost by a touchdown because of just stupid, careless mistakes. You can learn how to win ball games, and you can learn how to lose ball games. And when you win them, when you come out on the right side, a lot of time confidence builds for the rest of the season. And you keep trying, and you keep finding ways to pull out those close wins.
Gabe, didn't we just set up the Tiger segment? If they hang on and win the darn Texas-San Antonio game.
Where are they?
That invincibility, that confidence. You take that to Temple. You take that to Tulsa. Now, I think most of it in Orlando Friday night was a backup quarterback in a short week having to be thrust in there.
And
that's tough. That's hard.
I think we had a conversation, and I just want to get this out of the way.
It's not an excuse. That's real.
We had a conversation on Friday about Ryan Silverfield and how open he's being to the media and everything about his quarterback situation.
Candor.
I'll say this, Brett. With this particular situation, I think I kind of understand why he kept it so close to the vest for so long. Because
game plan.
If you're UCF, as far as a game plan goes, if you're game planning for Seth Hennigan and Peter Parrish walks out there, it'll confuse you. It'll throw you for a loop. And Peter Parrish did all he could as far as running the ball and everything else. I just don't know if throwing the ball, he'll ever be where a Tiger quarterback needs to be. He was 31 for 48, 215, 3 INTs, and there was just nothing of value he could do pushing the ball down the field. And that's just the truth of it. And I thought the RPO game would work for him since he has legs. The threat's always there. Linebackers may cheat up. That couldn't even get done. It was mostly, Brett, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of stuff into the flats, a lot of stuff to the sidelines that he could get done. Nothing more than 10 yards down the field.
Yeah, we were texting during that game, and it was just tough for him to 3, 5, or 7 step drop and do anything from the pocket. It was very difficult for him. I'm sure he was seeing everything. In Central Florida, they were ready to make him see everything like that. It's the least best UCF team we've seen in a while.
There's no question.
I mean, they were as gettable as they're probably ever going to be at the bounce house. But Tigers came up short. It never felt like from the opening kickoff that was a winnable game, unlike all those other losses this year, 3 of the 4 other losses.
And I know that a lot of this is pure sort of speculation. I think if Seth Hennigan plays that game, the Tigers can pull that one out. By 3, by 7, by 10, whatever the score is.
What's his status as best you can report?
As best I can report, he's dealing with a shoulder, and it's still a day-to-day thing. We may get more announcements later that it may not be a day-to-day thing. It may be week-to-week. We will see. But if he can't go, Brett, I don't know which of these games that they can win. SMU nearly off the table if you cannot score with them. They will score against the Tiger defense, even though the Tiger defense. Do you bite
the bullet and let him get good and well with Open Date and SMU, and then try to rally the troops and at least win 2 out of 3, if not the last 3 over ECU, at Houston, and Tulane?
Whatever gets him the most prep to play, whatever puts him in the best position to make plays on the football field is what you do. And my thought is he needs to be out there if you want to win football games. I think if he doesn't play. And I know this is rough to say, especially coming from me. If he doesn't play, I think this is you're looking at 0-4. You're looking at a 4-8 year.
And that's 4-8, and I think it could be explained with injuries and tough luck breaks, but that would be, we have to be candid, that would be decided steps, not a step, but steps backwards to go 4-8. Now it can all be fixed next year with a fun year. But even after that Mississippi State win, I know I said on these airwaves with you, I said this cannot be the win of the year.
Yes,
it's got to be others.
So far, it's looking like that is the win of the year. If they
And
go
for
4-8,
State,
Brett,
what kind of year could they be looking at if you could reverse a few things in that game? State would be sitting out there looking at maybe a 9-win season.
Yes, because that's a solid team. They've been playing very well.
I contend State's got 2 of the best wins this year in college football over NC State and Texas A&M. Those are gold star wins.
Mm-hmm. Brett, if this Tiger team goes 4-8, yes, it's steps back. Firings will happen in the offseason, though. There will be a lot of coach turnover, a lot of player turnover if you end 4-8 this year, and that's how college football works. And I'm not saying that it would be
that's the business.
I'm not saying it would be Ryan Silverfield getting fired. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
But I'm talking about other coaches, defensive coordinators, special teams coordinators, certain assistant coaches would be out of the door, and you'd have to go figure out how to work
running
that going
backs coach.
forward. I don't know about that. I mean, I think as far as Anthony Jones is concerned, he's sort of he's good with the Memphis recruiting market, I guess, the local area, and he's sort of the local guy. I don't know if he'd be part of it. I personally look at special teams, and special teams now, Brett, have become not just – you talk about changing the game. I think that's been sort of the crux of special teams at Memphis over the past 4 or 5 years with the returning. You've had Tony Pollard do some of that. Chris Claybrooks do some of that. Gabe Rogers had a return a couple of years ago. It has now become changing the game in the opposite direction. It doesn't help you at all. It has hurt you a lot of the times this year. And I think that you would have to first look at changing up your special teams leadership in the offseason if you do end up going 4-8.
Bad special teams really make you never want to take them for granted again when you have the good years. Like the Tigers had been on the roll in a third of the game, special teams.
Brett, they're the first thing you
or as
take.
Tommy West always called them teams.
Well, Brett, they're the first thing that you take for granted because it's only one.
It's so easy. Snap, hole, kick. Who couldn't do that?
Yes, it's 10
until
plays.
It's a bust.
It's 10 plays a game until those 10 plays start costing you in negative ways.
The old saying, nobody knows who the deep snapper name is until he sails it over the kicker's head.
That's way too true. That is way too true. We do have a text that I will read in just a second. The one thing that was sort of redeeming about the Tigers' performance the other night, and there's not many things that were redeeming, they got off the field on third down. Only held UCF, and I know Mikey Keene's not all that great, but only held UCF to 81 yards through the air. Defensively, they looked a lot better. Now, did they give up some lanes rushing the ball? Isaiah Bowser, 26 for 111, yes. But defensive backfield play, as far as the secondary goes, they were better.
I'll tell you something else I really liked. I know you did too. You just hadn't mentioned it, but you'll verify it. With one arm tied behind your back, I did like the effort.
Yes, that's true. That's very true. And they worked. And you knew it was going to have to be an ugly – if you were going to win it, it was going to have to be super ugly. And you didn't have much of a thought that they were going to win that ball game because of the quarterback play and because of the offense. But they held UCF to 3 for 11 on third downs. That's been a problem area all year, is getting off the field on third downs. So there's very few things to take away from that besides the fact
needed open day.
That defensively they were a little bit better. We do have a text. I believe Silverfield gave up on the run too early. Brandon Thomas only getting 5 carries is unacceptable. You're in a weird position. I do think 5 carries for your lead back, for a guy who has been leaned on all year, is not enough. But you were down for a good part of that game. You're down 14-0 to start the game. And I thought personally, Brett, the QB run should have been a way bigger factor than it was. They went away from that a little bit too early. And I know Peter Parrish ran the ball 22 times, but on about half of those, it was scramble. It was scramble drill. It was him getting out of the pocket, trying to break contain. I don't know if they didn't have enough time to scheme in quarterback runs throughout the week, but I thought they got away from that a little bit too early.
And, Gabe, it's hard to keep that spy back. But this week, in the Auburn defensive prep room, they got to keep a spy for Matt Corral. And on the other side for Ole Miss, you can't just kind of go at Bo Nix and him give you one head fake and turn a 10-yard loss into a 20-yard gain.
I was going to Ole Miss. I was impressed with week 1 back. Jaron Ely was fantastic.
It was the best game of the year.
Yes, I mean, as far as the explosion and everything else, I didn't expect him to have that early, but he was ready to go. And I know Snoop Connor had a good game, but the explosion from Jerry and Ely,
Henry Parrish.
But yeah, the explosion from Jerry and Ely could be a godsend for them down the stretch of the season.
It was needed. They said that, or the quotes after the game, Coach Kiffin told him, "You got to cut loose. You're tiptoeing." And now he's recovering from injury and off-season surgery. The injury sustained down at LSU last year, 6 days before Christmas, in the last game of the year in that mud hole that was Tiger Stadium. And he's been a little tentative all year. He hadn't been the old cut loose, let it rip Jerry and Ely, and he did Saturday, and they had to have it because that first quarter was plug ugly. It was 7-0. It felt like 21-0.
Which was a good thing to see them pull that thing out by the end of it, 31-17.
That interception was critical.
A very, very workman's attitude. I don't know how you feel about it, but at home, Eli
I was a nervous
Manning
wreck all day. Can't
honored.
lose on Eli Manning Day. You can't. You just can't do it.
But you know that LSU team, as much as they're going through, they're dangerous. They're very dangerous. They have a lot of talent.
I said it on our pregame. That LSU roster, every team in college football wanted those guys.
Yes.
Every one of them. Gabe, I'll say it again, and this is no slight. This is really a defense of Coach Kiffin. You take Matt Corral and maybe Jerry and Ely. You take those two off. If you had a draft of the Auburn roster, the Florida roster, the LSU roster, and I'll just stop there. When does an Ole Miss player get drafted before all those other teams?
LSU would be what, the top 5 picks?
Oh, I want that one. I'll take 2 of those, 4 of those, 6 of those, 2 of those. Then give me a few Auburn guys, a few Florida guys.
Right. But
it's a job that Lane Kiffin has done. This is not a wildly talented roster.
Jaron Ely was a 5-star, though, correct? He's one of the only ones. And Matt Corral was high.
Yeah,
but the rest of the guys,
I'll give those 2.
The rest of the guys, nothing really overwhelming. So, I mean, I point well taken. Point well taken on that. When you're looking around the SEC, recruiting is everywhere.
Roster
Everyone
makeup, I don't think there's much difference between Arkansas, Tennessee, and Ole Miss's roster. I don't think there's a damn bit of difference.
Yep.
Quarterback's big.
We will revisit this later, about 4:30, 4:45. We'll do our overreactions from the college football weekend, and we'll talk about who won the weekend. We'll also do our SEC and college football recap around then. When we come back, Tigers played Lemoyne Owen yesterday, and we are officially into Tiger basketball drama season. We'll talk about that more when we come back on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
You have opinions?
The knowledge that I have matters.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Who is probably one of the worst golfers in town? Yes, you got it. It's me, Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors. How can I be the worst? I spend too much time concentrating on selling homes. Now I'm great off the tee and my drives are really good, but it's my next shots. My second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and you get the idea. I spend too much time giving my clients advice on getting their homes ready for the market so their homes will sell quickly at a really good price. The market may be good for sellers, but if you don't prepare and have a good presentation, it's like not being able to get out of a sand trap, which often happens to me. But if you want to know why people often say when you want the job done, call Shell Done, then call or email me at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now, whether it's for you or for a friend. That's Shell Done at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com.
Working at Gateway Tire is not just a job, it's a profession. They're looking for career-minded people who want to advance their career in the auto industry. With 5-day work weeks, paid vacation, insurance, 401k plans, and much more, you'll enjoy their hometown approach to customer service. Come by and make Gateway Tire and Service Center the right step for your career.
At Gateway Tire, we go the distance for you.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish is...
It's pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said now he speaks Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
The deals keep getting stronger than ever at the Ram Power Days and Jeep Adventure Days at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. Want a Cherokee Classic with a modern twist? Get it with 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude 4-wheel drive, $409 a month. How about 2021 Chrysler 300 Touring, $426 a month? Take on off-road trails, city streets, and everything in between in a 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee L Limited, $489 a month. And the workhorse 2021 Ram 1500 Quad Cab Tradesman, $497 a month. Plus top dollar for your trade at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat. So drive past the rest and come to the best or shop online, GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Cherokee 300 Ram, all 75 months at 3.99 APR, 3,500 down. Cherokee MD 220971, MSRP 30,580, 300 MH 64614, MSRP 34,945, L M 114994, MSRP 50,320, 48 month lease. 1500 MS 578 8563, MSRP 40,030. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through the end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back in and rolling, Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Brian Dacus producing the program. Listener line, AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone 901-360-8255. Another text here on the Tigers. Isn't it doing more psychological damage to the Tigers' freshman field goal kicker by not giving him a chance to kick? See, but there's a double-edged sword there. If you give him a chance to kick and he keeps missing them by 10 yards plus, I think
the knot in the shoe just gets bigger.
Yeah, I think the psychological damage might be worse if you keep letting them miss field goals.
The damage we're doing to kickers across the sport is this: nobody wants to kick at all anymore. We don't want three or extra point get you nothing.
I've had so many conversations with Jake Elliott over the years about how he has even stayed sane trying to kick in the NFL.
I bet it's tough.
Oh, it's miserable. It's miserable.
Because extra point's supposed to be automatic. We back that up in the NFL. Field goals inside of 45 for a pro kicker because, they're always on those tight hash marks too. That makes it a little easier for the pro kicker than the college youngster.
And my gosh, it's always – we talk about special teams being taken for granted. Made field goals you take for granted until you see someone start missing
Everybody
them.
wants to be the kicker except
and then
on
in the
game
NFL,
day.
In the NFL, as soon as you start missing them, are you going to get fired? You getting cut this week? You getting released? We had Mason, think about this. Mason Crosby the past 2 years, who has been kicking since, I don't know, the early 1900s. Yeah. He had 2 years in a row now where he missed, I think, 4 field goals each and then like an extra point. And people were talking about him getting cut. He's on his, 4th contract by now? It's like he has been unbelielievable for years. But he has
$100 million.
He has one bad game. And Packers fans and NFL fans ask if he's going to get released. Now,
a few weeks ago, I asked Alex about sitting in the family section. I had a mother of an SEC kicker tell me
they get it the worst.
That kicker's number 1, quarterback's number 2, and that's from the other parents and the other family members in the friendly family setting.
I can tell you from my experience with special teams families and special teams players, they get after each other pretty good. They do.
Yeah, they're cut different. Yeah. They are.
Yes, they're used to kicking and snapping. It's a different life. Now, Memphis Tigers basketball played Lemoyne in college yesterday in their first exhibition. They won by a whole lot, 105-57. Jalen Duren was a grown freaking man, 15 points. He had 5 rebounds. He had an assist. Looked pretty good. The issue, though, that we ran into is we're into drama season, as I teased before we got to the break. Amani Bates has a deep thigh bruise. Jonathan Lawson's dealing with eligibility from Oregon. I saw Chuck Lawson, his uncle, comment on it on Twitter saying Oregon is being very –
Uncle Chuck said, up yours.
Yeah, he does that on Twitter from time to time.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
His family loves it.
Yeah. But Jonathan Lawson's dealing with academic eligibility from Oregon is the story I've been hearing. Chandler. I apologize. I always get them confused. But
now,
4 guys sat out.
Let's cut to the chase.
4 guys sat out.
Everybody's scared to death this is a Wiseman eligibility issue on players that aren't playing.
Yeah, 4
That's
guys.
what people are scared of. I guess it won't be resolved till we see names called and people head to the scoring table opening night against Tennessee Tech.
Yeah, but 4 guys.
But I'm not worried about it.
Amani Bates, Chandler, and Jonathan Lawson sat down. Nolly sat down. Jonathan and Landers is because of a team issue, a disciplinary issue is how Penny
Great
termed
time
it.
to meet that out.
Mm-hmm. And this happens every single offseason. Well, last offseason it was DeAndre Williams. Didn't get eligible until very late in the game.
I said earlier the whole paralysis by analysis thing, that's Tiger basketball in this market. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a lot of paralysis analysis.
Oh, my God. It's unbelievable. And with Jonathan and Landers both being disciplinary, everybody's asking, what happened? Just – Let it handle
Tiger
itself.
Fans.
Let it handle itself.
Enjoy this. Don't fight the margin of victory and the playing time and the one ball, and he only got 4 minutes, and he should be getting. Enjoy this.
And also,
you're going to the Final Four. Enjoy it.
Don't try to control things that you can't control.
Yeah.
If somebody's ineligible, they're ineligible. There's nothing you can do about it.
Break out Aaron Rodgers right here. RELAX.
Oh, yes.
Especially at 0-0.
I completely agree with that sentiment. But Tigers did handle business, and
we'll freak out at some point, though.
The starters yesterday. Let me give you a starting lineup. Here's the starting lineup from yesterday: Malcolm Dandridge, DeAndre Williams, Lester Quinones, Alex Lomax, Jalen Duren. I can imagine.
Well, 4 of those 5 were at the Dallas NIT.
I'll tell you this: if everybody's eligible come the first game of the season on November 9th, that will not be the starting lineup. No. Although, hey, Malcolm Dandridge made a case for him yesterday. 18 points, 8 for 11 from the field. Looked good. Looked the best he had. Looks
the best
healthy.
play.
Looks
Go
healthy.
get it.
Looks very healthy. But we will most certainly have a lot of Tiger basketball talk coming up here in the near future, and I don't think it'll be the extent of Lemoyne Owen College. I think we'll have more to talk about coming up soon. Rest of the day, David Cobb will join us on the other side from CBS Sports to talk college football. 4:30, 4:45, we'll get into our SEC college football recap. 5 o'clock, Evan Barnes will join us to talk Tigers football and Grizzlies. 5:30, Monday Night Football preview and pick. 5:45, we'll get out with Taco Bell Crunch Time. We'll come back with David Cobb on the other side on Sports Time.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Fall is in the air, and so are Choate's Early Bird Specials. Right now, receive $1,000 off the purchase of a new Carrier gas furnace. Carrier furnaces come with some of the best warranties in the industry, and Choate's has been professionally installing them for over 60 years. As a Carrier factory authorized dealer, Choate's also offers competitive financing solutions for you and your family. If your heating system is in good shape, make sure you take advantage of Choate's Early Bird Tune-Up Special for $60. This tune-up is an in-depth 20-point inspection to make sure your furnace is ready for the winter season ahead. So call 347-8086 to schedule your Early Bird Special today. And turn to the experts with Choate's and let our family serve your family.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One with a preview of Week 7 as the New Orleans Saints take on the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle is coming off an overtime loss to the Steelers, but saw good play from their quarterback, Geno Smith, replacing the injured Russell Wilson. Now they host Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints, who are coming off the bye week. Running back Alvin Kamara says going into the off week with a win was a big plus.
You never want to lose a game going into a bye week. It kind of seems like you're not doing anything right when you lose and you got a break. But, I mean, just going into that bye week, like some energy, like, we winners. The difference between 2-3 and 3-2 is huge.
Join Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner and me for all the action as the Saints take on the Seahawks on Monday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long. Right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. That means you can get up to a $25 gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of your Superstart battery. Return power, performance, and reliability to your car, truck, motorcycle, and more with Superstart batteries. Only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, frequent heartburn may keep you from running your A game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to prilosecotc.com. You'll get $3 off to get you started, plus 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, zero heartburn. Go to prilosecotc.com and sign up today. Zero heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Maureen saved big shopping epic daily deals at Amazon. So now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. And with her brand new tableware, everyone's welcome at Maureen's table. All of her family, friends, even her neighbor with the pet. Hey, has anyone seen a ferret around here? Found it. Dig into Amazon's epic daily deals. Spend less, smile more.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Hour number 2 is here on a Monday on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Brian Dacus producing the program. It's 4 o'clock. So what that means is we're going to bring on our good friend from CBS Sports, talk some college football, David Cobb, at David W. Cobb on Twitter. David, what's happening, man?
Man, not a whole lot. Just enjoying life. I got Braves tickets, actually, for next Sunday night. So going to be seeing a World Series game in person.
Nice.
So
Yes, sir.
Pretty excited about that, yeah.
I always tell Brett, I went to 2 World Series games in person, both losses for my Cardinals. So I don't think I'll ever go to a World Series game.
Both in 04, Gabe?
Yes.
Against Boston?
Yep. It was 3 and 4, right? 3 and 4.
I got an L in Game 4, the closeout then. But that'd be fun, David Cobb, and for the first time in World Series history, an all-Southern World Series.
Yeah, that's interesting. And the Braves, I think, are going to have the nation behind them because the Astros are still villain number 1 in Major League Baseball right now, as far as I know. So it should be pretty awesome. I mean, there's a buzz around Atlanta.
Can you imagine Manfred handing that trophy that he called just a piece of metal, his own trophy, over to the Braves in Atlanta in the chorus of boos after the whole All-Star game decision?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's another element of that, too. I mean, I guess in some people's minds, these are the 2 most villainous franchises. I mean, I guess the ire about Atlanta was more towards the state of Georgia than the franchise itself, but, I'm sure there's no love lost from the Braves organization to MLB after they missed out on the All-Star game.
I'm still so happy for my friends that are Braves fans. They're so used to getting their heart torn out at this point in the season. They're so used to it. They thought for a second after that 11-2 loss, they thought it was headed that direction again. And I don't blame them.
Until you get the toe tag on the Dodgers, they're
alive.
They're like this goofy Halloween series. They just keep coming back.
Yeah, and the Dodgers are so talented. And, the Braves won, 88 games in the regular season, but they lost Ronald Acuna. And so I think most folks just wrote him off.
Shout out trade deadline moves.
Didn't go over 500 till early August.
Yeah. So it's going to be awesome. It just so
Good
happens
for you,
that
David.
From my wife's job, we're in Atlanta, so like once in a lifetime type of opportunity that we have
That'll
to
be
be
fun.
here for this length of
All right,
time.
so-
Yeah, I'm
And I
excited
hear
about
the
it.
new stadium's nice too there. I hear the
It
new
is,
stadium's
yeah.
beautiful.
So that's the other part of it that'll be cool is that even
Sure will be.
outside of Truist Park, they're going to have that whole, that whole battery is what they call
Right,
the
yeah, the
battery.
battery.
And there's, tons of restaurants and whatever.
Bars.
I don't know if there's going to be enough parking spaces for everybody, but if there are, every restaurant.
Atlanta and parking. Come on, David. You've been there long enough. The two really don't go together. And that move to Truist so natural. I saw a map on Twitter of Brave season ticket holders, and the ballpark literally sits in the heart of it as compared to old Ted that was kind of removed from everything.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, they kind of built it up around it. There's some nostalgia to be had about Turner Field. I've been to games at both now. Truist is kind of the way that stadiums are going, in modern times where they kind of, it's not too dissimilar from like what they've done with Ballpark Village in St. Louis.
Yep.
The difference is that Busch Stadium is actually in the heart of downtown. Truist is like in the heart of the suburbs.
Right.
But, it's still a cool vibe.
Every time I go back to look at Ballpark Village and see the new development there, it's always another high-rise apartment building or two, and it always just throws me off. There's a lot of development going on, especially around those MLB ballparks. Now, me and Brett have been going back and forth about the AP poll today with Cincinnati still at number 2 after struggling with Navy. Is that more to do with the pollsters finally sort of giving Cincinnati the benefit of the doubt, or do you think that's more because Oklahoma struggled so badly in Lawrence?
Yeah, so definitely the latter. Cincinnati struggled against Navy, but there's way, way, way more respectability in struggling against Navy than there is in struggling Kansas, which is what Oklahoma did. So I don't know that I would have moved Alabama up to 3, though, which is what the voters did. Because at the end of the day, Oklahoma is still unbeaten, and it hasn't been pretty.
Mm-hmm. Something in O.
Right.
But Alabama has a loss. So why are we moving Alabama ahead of a team that's still unbeaten?
David, those conversations about a 2-loss Alabama losing the SEC championship, still getting into the college football playoff, they're rising. They're here, though. I saw them all over.
No, you can't do that because, and stats,
I agree.
Texting
I'm with
about
you.
this earlier. I think there
won't
might be a chance that an Ole Miss or a Kentucky could be a
True.
one-loss team, and you can't admit a 2-loss Alabama over a 1-loss Ole Miss or Kentucky, even if Alabama does have the head-to-head against Ole Miss, which it would. So, that's way off in the distance, but I can't get on board with that.
David,
all of these teams.
let me paint you a scenario.
Let the resume. I'll say this: let the resumes be complete before we start having those conversations.
Yeah, let's finish October play before we start having that. But when we do that, and it's fun boilerplate stuff, dude. David, I don't anymore. Here's the proviso. Everybody listening, this is not college football extreme overreaction time. That's at 4:45. That's when we say stuff cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I do not believe this will happen. But let me paint a far-fetched scenario, a wild one. The Big Ten's getting ready to enter into cage match that they're going to devour. It's going to cannibalize itself. Everybody beats everybody. Everybody gets scratched up not 1 but 2 times. Oregon catches another one nicked up. Oklahoma may lose this week, even with Texas Tech firing their coach, and we'll get to that in a minute. What does Texas Tech want in a head football coach? All of that occurs. Bama upset Georgia in the SEC championship game. 1 loss Georgia. 1 loss Bama. 1 loss Ole Miss. 1 loss Kentucky, and that's your college football playoff.
Nah,
it means more.
Brett, you don't happen to be wearing your SEC belt today.
It just means more, David.
And I am not drinking. This being the 28th anniversary today of me in sobriety, I am not drinking.
Hey.
Wouldn't that be wild, David?
No, congratulations.
Yeah,
and by the way, I see on the Periscope.
It's the easiest thing I ever did in my life. I promise you.
You're sipping a Coca-Cola. I can verify.
Yeah, that's true. The ubiquitous red can.
Yeah, that's crazy, but you never know. In this season, I'm going to give that about a 0.01 chance of happening. But it sure is fun to entertain.
If it happened, that's when all the rivers are running south to north, and the Nile is finally running north to south, and the Great Pyramids finds me in one of those sarcophagus.
Yeah, you would enjoy that, and I don't think many other people would around the country.
So Oregon is sort of, when you look at the Pac-12, and Pac-12 does not get discussed for good reason, I think, a lot of times. Oregon's the only team you look at that's in the top 10 from the Pac-12. How are they alive still as far as college football playoff hopes go? And a lot of things would have to go their direction, I understand, but do you think that their hopes should be alive?
I mean, unfortunately, yes. In this season, I think any one loss, I think any power conference team that wins their league and has one loss or fewer is going to end up in this thing, in the playoff. And Oregon, unfortunately, still fits that category. And I say unfortunately because if you watch them play enough, you realize that, yes, they beat Ohio State, but in no other game that they have played this season have they looked the part.
They got my hopes up. That Ohio State game got my hopes up for what that Oregon team was going to be. And since then, close against Cal, close against UCLA, close against everybody.
Yeah, they're not a CFP caliber team, in my opinion. So, I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau, though, I mean, he should maybe be in the Heisman conversation. I mean, he's so disruptive when he's playing. The issue is just he's been a little banged up, so he hadn't had time to accumulate the numbers and statistics that are required of a defensive player to enter that conversation. But, man, when he plays, he's really good. But that offense, I think everybody still associates Oregon's offense with the Chip Kelly era, even though that's been years upon years now. And this, if you watch Oregon, that's not what this team is. I mean, Travis Dye ran for 4 touchdowns. He had about 25 total rushing yards, against UCLA, and 4 touchdowns. So, Anthony Brown is a serviceable quarterback, but he is not a quarterback who is going to have you within striking distance in a college football playoff game. So that's why I don't want Oregon to be in, because I don't think they're good enough to compete with any of the other teams that are going to be in the playoff.
Right.
But if they in the Pac-12 and they only have one loss, I think they're going to be in.
Who should be the next coach at LSU, David?
LSU, so I would maybe go with Matt Campbell. And the reason I say that is, yes, Iowa State just had a nice, top 10 upset at home over Oklahoma State. But I think Iowa State's probably about hit its peak under Matt Campbell, because, this was the year for them. And it could still be a really nice season. They could still win 10 games. But it didn't really peak quite to the level that I think some people might have hoped. And I think there's a pretty good chance that there's a drop-off after this season. And so unless Matt Campbell wants to be a lifer in Ames, then I think it may be time for him to kind of jump ship. So he would be one of my first calls there. I think he makes more sense than Jimbo. I think he's more practical than Lane Kiffin. I think James.
Who started the Mike Tomlin rumor today?
Oh, that was Carson Palmer today.
Yeah.
On Dan Patrick's show.
Wow.
Those Dan Patrick rumors are never very, very good, are they?
They're fun, though.
They're fun, yeah. They start conversation.
It's almost like John Gruden could be the coach at Tennessee and Arkansas at the same time.
Yeah, and he's the one who gave us the Tennessee stuff in wads of cash into McDonald's bags as well.
The James Franklin, you brought him up. How likely is it, do you think, that he will actually be the Penn State coach come next year?
I don't know. I mean, I think USC makes sense for him from a personality fit. At the same time, though, he's got a great recruiting class coming in.
Right.
I would imagine he's pretty comfortable up there. I guess at the end of the day, it's just going to be easier for him to win at USC, I think, than it is going to be for him at Penn State, where he's in the same division as Ohio State. So,
is it weird for me to think that Illinois loss this weekend, and I want to ask you about the overtime rule as well, that Illinois loss this weekend makes it less likely that he'll return? That felt like a weird one. That felt like one where it's like it could spiral your season out of control. And obviously, I think that's a good team still. But
I'll take the devil's advocate and say maybe it makes him hungrier to have more success at Penn State, because I think this is going to go down as a what-if season for Penn State. And that what-if is going to be, what if Sean Clifford had not been hurt in that game against
What if Will last year, David?
What if Will
Levis
what if
was last year for Penn State?
I don't know. I mean, last year I've thrown that out.
COVID.
Penn State,
okay, cool.
They would have beaten Iowa if Sean Clifford had been healthy during that game, and I think they would have beaten Illinois if Sean Clifford had been healthy. I mean, they trotted the guy out there, but I mean, he wasn't even close to 100%, and that's why they lost the game. And you actually bring up a great point, I think, Gabe, about Will Levis going to Kentucky, because if he's still on their roster, they've got a serviceable backup, and they probably at least have a better shot against Iowa, and I'm certain they beat Illinois. So I don't know. I mean, I think with what he's got coming in, he can't go wrong. I mean, James Franklin is in a wonderful situation because if he stays at Penn State, he's going to continue along this, 10 wins per season type of trajectory with the potential to peak every 4 or 5 years and maybe make a run at the playoff. If he goes to USC, he starts over with a blank slate, and he's got a much easier conference to go through. So if I were his agent, I would be very, very happy right now.
He's been non-committal with all the conversations and all the questions that have been asked of him. I'm not going to say either way because you're going to hold it against me regardless. But, I mean, he's been very non-committal about the USC questions. Now, 9 OT game, Illinois, Penn State. We had the 2-point conversion back and forth. I need I hope you have a strong take on this. What do you think about it?
It felt like penalty kicks. That's what it felt like to me. It was horrendous, but somewhat comical to watch.
The under in 9 OTs is I can't get over that. It's got to be the first time.
I don't know. I mean, you played Gabe. I mean, you've probably been in some overtime games. What do you think about
it? I have a strong take. I think it was. I thought it was miserable. I hated that. Hated every second of it. And watching it too live made me so angry.
How do we fix it?
What was wrong with going from the 25 in every overtime?
Yeah, I don't know. If they wanted to make
I thought the defensive players became zombies.
Yeah, but they wanted to make it a shorter game.
So just make everybody go for 2 every time.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think it was really broken.
But Gabe, you say a team only has about how many 2-point plays in their holster?
They have maybe 5 that they're planning on, and one in particular, they plan for one 2-point conversion a game. That's what they plan for 100%. But they have like 5 or 6 plays in there. Watching that game, though, it became more about who's going to get the luckiest because neither offense was worth a damn, if we're being honest.
You mean to drop the bomb in here, David? Gabe, you ready for the
Go
bomb?
For it,
Bryant,
yeah.
you ready for the bomb?
Yeah. Love bombs.
Y'all are
a stats bomb?
Y'all are going to chase the old man out of here with this one. You're going to swear I'm not just drinking Coca-Cola. How about we just go back to ties?
Oh, we got to check that can.
Yeah, no, we can't do this. No ties. No, please.
Yeah. No. I'm good on ties. I'm good on ties, but we got to do something else other than that. I mean, we can't have a
okay.
That was the first time.
I've been to some great ties, really David.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It became less about who's better and more about, with that game in particular, it became more about who's going to have the lucky play, the one play that gets you a 2-point conversion.
I mean, that's why I said it was like penalty kick. I mean, can you really determine what soccer team is better by who takes the the penalty or who gets who hits the crossbar? I mean, and hockey does it. They go to shootouts. I mean, do we want to try the NFL model? I mean, that's an option as well that maybe should be discussed.
Because we really cut out special teams in any way we've done college overtime since we started it in 1996. And David, I called it that year. I said the first SEC overtime game was going to be Bama at Tennessee that year, and if it hadn't been for who was the running back for Tennessee that broke one late? Tennessee was kind of positioning for overtime, and they broke one late to avert overtime, or I'd have been right on.
David, I think I don't mind the NFL one, too. The NFL, I think it gets a bad rap. I don't mind it as long as there's no ties involved at the college level.
Yeah. Well, it was. I think what has brought this conversation to the forefront was just the ridiculousness of that situation, where it went to 9 overtimes with 2 offensively lifeless teams, and that was the first time that the country, on a large scale, had been introduced to the new overtime rules. Because there's been a few overtime games this season, but none of them have risen to that level of visibility. So, I mean, I think in some ways we might look at that game in a year or two as an aberration, because I don't think there's any way the repeated failures that we saw in that overtime scenario are going to translate, to future overtime games.
Right.
One
fun thing out of it Saturday was literally since week 0, people going, "Oh yeah, Brett Bielema was at Illinois."
So true. Yeah, right. He starts out beating Nebraska, and everyone's like, "Wow, Brett Bielema is going to have Illinois back contending."
Then amnesia.
Yeah, and they do absolutely nothing until that game.
All right, David, you give me your top 4 teams in the country right now as we head into the last weekend of October play, and who would be your Heisman Trophy vote?
Yeah, so, I mean, I've got Georgia 1. I've got Cincinnati 2. I've still got Oklahoma 3. And then I've got Michigan 4 because they're undefeated. All right? Like, Ohio State has lost.
No, you're
Alabama has a loss.
But how likely do you think it is that they get through the rest of the season without that loss?
Well, I mean, probably not very likely. But when I rank my teams every Sunday night when all the action is over, I'm not ranking them based on how good I think they could be.
It's not about projection. It's about this
potential
second.
or projection. I'm ranking them off the resume they've assembled during the season, and I think that's the way it should be. And I'm not going to say that I'm never influenced by other factors. Like, I'm way lower on Oregon than I am on some other one-loss teams, even though they have a better win than most of those one-loss teams. So, yeah, I mean, I'm biased in certain ways like anybody, but I've got Michigan 4 because they haven't lost yet. Do I think they would beat Ohio State head-to-head? No, probably not. But does Ohio State have a loss?
We'll see.
Yes, it does. So my Heisman Trophy winner is Bryce Young. And I know that I don't understand maybe why he's not further along in that conversation. But, man, he's really starting to come into his own. He's really playing well on his with his legs. Alabama was 14 of 19 on third downs against Tennessee. And Alabama was against the wall early in that fourth quarter. So Tennessee went ahead or had a big touchdown. And so Alabama's only up 31-24. Tennessee stops Brian Robinson on consecutive runs, puts Alabama in a 3rd and 15, and is about to get the football back, trailing by 7 with the momentum on their side in the fourth quarter at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And then what does Bryce Young do? He hits a 65-yard bomb to Jameson Williams, and they score on the next play. I mean, in the past, we would look at plays like that and say, oh, that's a player's Heisman moment. For whatever reason, we're not saying those types of things about Bryce Young, even though I think he's had quite a few of those moments now, 8 games in.
Bama fatigue?
Yeah, we've become accustomed to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's a great player, though. I think he's arguably the best player in the country, and I think his fate in that regard will, depend largely on what happens with Alabama.
Did y'all notice that Saban moment with him on the sideline, almost nose to nose? Bryce Young had his helmet on, but Nick Saban was almost as close as you can get in a very restrained conversation. It appeared. My idea of that conversation was, Bryce, listen to me. Bill O'Brien's an idiot.
Well, I think Bryce Young is taking matters into his own hands now, and he's running the football, and he's showing the ability to improvise. And to me, that's what puts him over the top. In fact, I think he watched what Matt Corral did against Tennessee, and he watched the success that Ole Miss had with the quarterback runs and the improvised QB scrambles, and he incorporated some of that into the way that he attacked Tennessee on Saturday. And so I give him credit for that, because to me that was the sign of a quarterback who is pretty well studied in addition to just being really talented.
Brett, I hope if he was calling Bill O'Brien an idiot, he put his mic on mute first at least, or flipped it up, kept it out of the way, so Bill didn't hear that.
I don't know if he minds what goes through the rest of the earpieces.
If Nick Saban calls you an idiot, I guess you're just an idiot at that point if you're on his coaching staff.
And if you don't want to go through the car wash, there's the door. It's worked pretty well for everybody else, Bill. B.O.B.
David, serious question about my former coach, Justin Fuente. Is he, lost at home to Syracuse this weekend, and the last second sort of Syracuse came down, I think scored about 27 seconds to go. Is he out after this season?
I would think so, because of how kind of rocky it was coming into this year to begin with. There was some question whether he'd be back, for this year. So, yeah, I think at this point what could he do? Georgia Tech, Boston College, that's who they got. They don't have anybody left that he can beat to change the conversation. There's no marquee potential win waiting on the horizon for him to justify, coming back. So I think he's got to be done. And it's a shame because, they started out the season with a big win over North Carolina in that big Friday night game where, Lane Stadium was rocking, and it was kind of that college football is back.
That win doesn't look near as good now, though. I'll say that much.
It does not. And they've just descended into, what strikes me watching this season and seeing Hendon Hooker play so well at quarterback for Tennessee. What's going on there? At Memphis, the quarterbacks were wonderful under Justin Fuente, and I don't know if that's just because they had Gabe Kuhn, blocking.
Well, that's clear. That's the clear explanation, David. I mean, you hit it right on the head. With him, I'll just sort of leave it at this. We're running short on time. With him, I think it's his offense has not fully. It hasn't evolved since his first year at Memphis. It's been the same thing, relies very heavily on misdirection and everything else. And I think people just know it now at this point. And you think about the guys that I brought this up. You think about the coaches he's going against. Mike Norvell was at Memphis. He coached at Memphis against Bronco Mendenhall, against Dino Babers. Like, those guys have already faced him, and I just don't know if his offense has evolved enough for them to not have a beat on it. But it is what it is. I thought he'd be better. It's just been rough for him. But he is David Cobb from CBS Sports on College Football. Joins us every Monday. David, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thanks, fellas.
Appreciate it, David. And I really wanted it to work out for Coach Fuente. Coach Fuente is one of the more and I know a lot of and James Shebest as well. Same with Vance Weiss, the O-line coach over there. It's just it never was the same when he got to Virginia Tech.
Hard
First year
replacing that legend.
Yes, first year was solid. They added to the win total. After that, it's just been downhill. And I really do think offensively, it just his style hasn't evolved enough. Where the game, I don't know if we give enough credit to how much the game has evolved since 2015 offensively. You see it in the NFL too. And I think even more so, if you look at the last 10 years, between about 2010 and 2015, it evolved quite a bit. From 2015 to where we are now, it is unbelievable how far we've come. It is insane. When we come back, though, we will continue this college football conversation. We'll recap you on what happened in the SEC right here on Sportstime.
Hey, this is Anthony Sane. Peter Edmonston and I have moved. Instead of Sports 56 mornings, you can now join us every afternoon from 1 to 3 p.m. for the all-new Sports 56 Grind Time, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
The Relax at Home sale's going on now at Family Leisure. Enjoy a game of pool. How about shuffleboard with friends and family? Relieving aching muscles with full body massage chairs. They're the coolest. Chill out and watch a movie. Or the big game in style with the new theater seating. Also on sale, we got spas and saunas and patio furniture. It's the Family Leisure Relax at Home sale. Going on now, I-40 and Winton Road, Family Leisure. For family and fun, come together.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything! A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
I got him on the line, Jeff Allen, the king of Happy at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
Hey folks, need a new ride that gets 41 MPG? 2021 Kia Forte, $249 a month. 2021 Kia Rio S hatchback, 41 MPG, only $258 a month. Plus a 2022 turbocharged Kia Soul, ready for that road trip at $267 a month.
Plus, you'll always get Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty program. Remember, Forte $249, Rio $258, Soul $267. And don't sell your trade till you check with us.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 72 months at 2.9%, $29.99 down payment. Forte, ME 409-215, MSRP 19,335. Rio, ME 427,894, MSRP 19,755. Sold, N 7808-276, MSRP 20,615. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Must finance through Kia on low APR. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/31/21. Dealer stock only.
Barks now offers you just about everything you need for your furry family member. Daycare, luxury boarding, award-winning grooming, veterinary checkups, diagnostic services including digital x-ray, fluoroscopy and ultrasound, complete dental service, vaccinations, preventative care for fleas, ticks, and heartworms, and just about any needed surgical treatment. And did I mention that we treat cats and all types of exotic pets? We are the newest member of the Barks family and the newest, most high-tech veterinary hospital in the Mid-South. Located directly across the street from Barks and Recreation, we are a full-service hospital with a fantastic, experienced staff. If you're having problems getting a timely appointment at your current vet's facility, we are here to serve you. Call us at 901-979-8888. Barks and Medication. Excellence in veterinary care.
They say this game can take you far. Your moves can take you further. Make moves that start movements.
Hennessy, spirit of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back rolling, Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Bryant Dacus on the ones and twos producing the program. AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. Someone tunes in to our text line. Getting these on AutoZone. They say it was great to see you and Richard Cross in the Grove this weekend, Brett.
Well, thank you. It was great to be there, and it was so many people, and thank you for coming by. It was a ton of people. It was a lot of fun. I think my favorite Ole Miss weekend experience ever.
Mm-hmm. I don't blame you for having that take because it looked very fun, and there was a lot of people.
Pinch me all weekend, just so fun and festive and perfect opponent.
Honestly, a lot of people I don't normally see in that neck of the woods went there for it because a good reason. Absolutely good reason.
A lot of players returning. I had a chance. I didn't do it because I didn't want to. I should have. Because my four favorite Ole Miss players of all time are Archie 1, Eli 2, Wesley Walls 3, and Dexter McCluster 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an opening to get a picture with them and didn't do it.
Dexter was there?
And Dexter was there and was glad to be there.
He was so
5'7", 150 of him. I'm as big as Dexter.
He was so fun to watch.
Oh
my gosh.
And he thought he was Christian Okoye. I mean, he thought he should be banging it up into the line of scrimmage every down. Every single game he would go, I need 10 more carries, Coach. You weigh 160.
A gamer. That's what you want. He's a gamer.
He was.
He's a gamer.
Just so fun. Laquan Treadwell back. Fun to see him back. And, and he was down on that south end zone. And I texted Richard. I said, it's poignant that Laquan's down there. He gave an ankle for Ole Miss in that end zone against Auburn that year.
Oh, gosh, that was terrible.
Man.
Was terrible.
I went to that night. I got back to the room, couldn't sleep, was aggravated over the game, aggravated over the injury, aggravated over a lot, and went out to the hospital. And there were a lot of people out there, and his family was around, and it really hurt his pro career because that took a step off.
And he was also. When you're game planning for a guy like that, you go into team meetings and you're having conversations about their best players. Every single time we played Ole Miss, I mean, he was the scariest guy on the field that you had to deal with.
You had to game plan for him.
100%. And we did as far as defending him in the Liberty Bowl in 2015, did a pretty good job. But still, you could not hold him down in college when he was healthy. I mean, he was unbelievable.
Those big old hands and that catch radius, whatever that is, he had a big one.
Yes, he did. Someone else says 8 to 12 team playoff is coming soon in college football. I don't know how soon. I mean, it's been delayed because all the realignment. And
I want it.
I'd
love it this year.
I do too. 12 or 8, or do you really? You just
I want 16.
You just want expansion.
Yeah, I want to go all the way.
You don't want to go. We're not going the Pirate 64 teams, right? We're not doing that, right?
But I want to go 16. I want to incorporate some on campus. I want to. Yeah, we're going to have blowouts. We have blowouts in the NCAA tournament,
right?
And I hate comparing the two because they're two quite different.
We have
sports.
won 16 over one. Either way, there's been a 16 beat one time.
But we're gonna have disasters in that first few rounds. Let it sort out and let the water flow wherever it goes.
Someone says, "Am I seeing that line on the Ole Miss Auburn is right?" I'm seeing right now Auburn 2.5-point favorites at home over Ole Miss.
You are seeing it, right, and you saw it come out as pick, and then 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, slowly going up. Last time Ole Miss to win on the Plains, 2015, with Laquan Treadwell dominant that day, and with Chad Kelly, and hadn't been many Ole Miss wins over Auburn anywhere, but even less of them down on the Plains. And this is the first big Brian Harsin win for him if he wins Saturday.
Yeah, it's a big one for them. It's a big one for them. They've done a good job, though. I mean, that win against Arkansas was pretty convincing.
LSU?
Yep, they did a good job
at
against
Tiger
LSU.
Stadium.
So, and Auburn beat Arkansas on the road. I mean, to go in there, beat them by 2 touchdowns in Arkansas, that was impressive. I think that's a good team. It's just you don't know what you're going to get from them week to week. Bo Nix is pretty inconsistent, and especially year one with a new coach. Last text here. Someone says LSU defenders jockstrap still on the field after the Jerry and Ely move. As an Auburn fan, I was disappointed LSU barely laid a hand on Corral. Hey.
Yeah, I talked about the Memphis Tigers effort on Friday night, and you're going to have this the rest of the year with the LSU Tigers. Some of that effort in the second half was dubious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they get down and they
checkout factor's big, and that whole building.
Know what?
Now.
I've seen it with them this year too. Even when they get up big, there's sort of a checkout factor. Checkout factor.
It sure is.
Either way, no matter which way you shake it.
It's just the dysfunction at the top.
And you can't blame them. You cannot
being
blame
changed.
Them. You cannot blame them for the players for being that way in any way, shape, or form with
I'll
what's
say it
happened.
again, and I'll try to say it in a calm voice and not get all high pitched. The anomaly in the Ed Orgeron years at LSU is not how this is ending. It's that he did win one, that he threaded that needle, got Joe Burrow, got everything to go right for him, had a Randa on defense, had the offensive coordinator, had everything.
Perfect storm.
And he cashed in. That's the anomaly.
Yes.
It is one of the most inconsistent humans to ever live.
The down years are not the anomaly. I agree with that completely. This week, though, in the SEC, had some. We've covered Ole Miss, LSU, Alabama sort of pulled away late against Tennessee. Tennessee stuck in there for most of the game.
Tennessee's played his rear end off this year.
Hendon Hooker he came up a little gimpy, didn't he?
He did, but they need an open date about as much as anyone. Again, I'm not ready to declare Tennessee back. But in those losses, even at Florida, but to Pitt at home, to Ole Miss at home, to Bama at Bryant-Denny, they played hard. They have hope. Now, here's the doomsday scenario. When I was talking that crazy 4-teamer in all SEC, I don't believe that, and I don't believe this either. But what if one of these big college jobs or the domino effect in the NFL ensnared Lincoln Riley, and Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma, and Tennessee showing signs of getting back, and OU hired Heupel? Who won a national championship playing quarterback there?
Yes, but you think OU would immediately jump into that? I think they would have a bunch of opportunities to get a bunch of other coaches before they.
I do too. I was just talking about Tennessee fans losing their minds scenario.
Yes. And Heupel, I wonder once he finally recruits all the guys he wants, because at UCF, he doesn't necessarily. Hendon Hooker's been good, but I don't know if that's the exact type of quarterback he wants to run his offense. Once he gets all of his recruits in there, you wonder how high-powered that offense is going to be.
Gabe, except for Georgia, these other teams that are having good years, Ole Miss, Kentucky, Arkansas even, Tennessee even.
Right.
You know what they all need, and the good Lord just doesn't make many of them. Everybody needs them a big, old, mean, bad, you-know-what defensive tackle. And there just aren't many out there in the world.
Arkansas has They have a transfer from Illinois State. Who's pretty good. He's a good player, though.
John Ridgway.
Yeah, John Ridgway. He's a good player. But no. I mean,
but a big 5-star.
The big D tackles are LSU, Alabama guys generally. Generally speaking. And A&M's
on
done
the
well.
hoof what LSU has.
A&M has done well too with recruiting.
A&M's close.
Leal,
A&M's really close.
What do you think about DeMarvin Leal? You like him? I think he's a good player.
Want to see consistency, want to see the motor revved up a little.
Right.
I want to see it every down. I know that's hard.
Doesn't that seem to happen, though, when you have a guy who's young, who gets all those sacks, accrues all those stats, has a bunch of production? They seem to sort of turn it off and on when they reach that NFL draft prospect status, that first-round status. It's a little shaky at times. I remember from watching Iowa real quick, I remember Adrian Claiborne was that way.
Oh, yeah.
turned it off
Big
and
94
on all the time. And it's just like, man, if you played hard all the time, you would be the best defensive end in the country.
Gabe, Robert Kimdiche.
Yeah, oh, gosh, that's a great point.
Come on, Robert. Just play hard 3 out of 5 downs.
Is he still with the Seahawks? He's still
bounces on and off.
Active.
And great, fun-loving, free spirit.
Right.
I think beside the Kimdiche brothers, free spirit would be right there with. But just got so massive, got too big. He got so bulked up that he lost some of his pliability and ability to get off the blocker.
And I mean that 2015 year, and I know he got hurt, but I thought Breland Speaks was the more.
Y'all dropped him on his head.
Well, yeah, that was that. Hey, I didn't do that. That wasn't me. But
defense bowed up.
But no,
didn't
I thought Breland Speaks was the better 3-tech.
Same
that
thing.
Day. I mean,
Breland's kind of already done with Kansas City. Kind of the same thing.
Brett, they put him in a weird spot coming out of
they
college.
Did. Well, he was
they
in
tried
between.
They tried to make him an edge guy, lose weight to stand him up, and he was what 6'3", 300 pounds when he played his best football, or 290 or so, if I remember correctly.
And it's hard playing defense now at any position at any level because it's just not a defensive sport.
The rest of the SEC slate this weekend. Mississippi State went into Vanderbilt. It wasn't even close, 45-6. Arkansas handled Arkansas Pine Bluff. That was over at halftime.
Now tell me something. I've gotten conflicting news on the Arkansas UAPB game. They didn't have a running clock late in that game, did they? Somebody told me they did, and I said no way. League wouldn't allow it.
That's
and then somebody told me, the fourth quarter was only played as a 12-minute quarter. If a texter could verify,
I want to know about that. But that's a high school
refute
rule.
that.
The running clock's a high school rule when you get up
My
by 28
head
or so.
explodes if either are true.
Yeah, you don't run the clock at the college level, but it was 45-0 at halftime. It was over, and they pulled the starters pretty early there in the third quarter. So
and Arkansas needed that now into open date, and then they have to close strong to go to a great bowl.
Mm-hmm. And the last game on the slate, A&M handled South Carolina 44-14, and A&M offensively, Zach Calzada's starting to look a little better. He wasn't fantastic. He wasn't fantastic, but they do have a Chain and Spiller, and those guys are fantastic.
Formidable duo.
Yes, and I thought their O-line play would be a little better this year. I know
I thought everything around A&M would be better than it has been. In the preseason, I picked one team to go undefeated, and I picked 3 teams to be at 1 loss. We still could have that in the SEC. It's just not any combination of how I had it.
I'm still thinking about that 4-team playoff, all SEC, 1 loss.
Yeah, that's mind-blowing.
But the college football playoff, it is – we talked about parity. I talked about the upsets on Friday. But it is so open. Parity is there, and we should enjoy it while we have it.
We should enjoy. All right, really, really, really fast. We may spend more time on this later in the week. I'm going to go through, and you just say yes or no. That this week's AP Top 20, and you tell me could, and not just
could they make the playoff?
That they play, and you could. I could win the Powerball, but a realistic shot to be in the Football 4. Georgia, yes. Cincinnati,
yes.
Alabama,
yes.
Oklahoma.
Yes.
Ohio State.
Yes.
Michigan.
We know how that Michigan-Ohio State matchup usually ends, but I'm going to say yes for the time being.
All right, for this exercise, I agree. Oregon.
For this exercise, oh my gosh! And I talked to David. I would say their window's open, but it is so tiny. It is pinhole tiny.
I say yes.
Michigan
State.
I say I'm. This is sort of one of those things. I just don't believe they will. I'm going to say no because I just don't think they will run the table.
Iowa.
No.
Ole Miss.
No.
Notre Dame.
No.
Kentucky.
Ooh, that's tough. That is so tough. Georgia loses. No, Georgia would have to lose twice. I'm going to say no for Kentucky.
Wake Forest.
Let's see the rest of their schedule. Let's check the rest of their schedule, though. They beat Army. I mean, they have a high-powered offense. 70 points against
this
Army.
Saturday they play Duke,
North Carolina.
at North Carolina, home against NC State, at Clemson.
Even if you win
at
the
BC.
ACC, if you say you finish out undefeated, and they are what? They'd be 13-0. Do they have? Is their resume built up enough to get there? I don't think so.
One loss Pitt, with the one loss being to Western Michigan.
No.
See, I say yes to everybody I named. Now,
really,
that will boil down.
Well, Wake Forest,
this time next week it won't be that.
Wake Forest, the way they're playing, they have a chance to be 13-0 by the time they get done with the ACC. They have that is a possibility, no question. But is their resume big enough? Is it good enough?
But the very idea on Monday, October 25th, we're talking about Wake Forest, Kentucky, Ole Miss.
That's true. Yes, that proves the point about parity.
What a beautiful sport!
It's beautiful. And Cincinnati's number 2. In most people's books, they're a lock right now at the college football playoff.
I woke up this morning and had to look at the AP poll again. Monday, October 25th. Ole Miss 1 slot ahead of Notre Dame.
You know what, Brett? I cannot wait. We got to get to this now. College football playoff, college football, NFL. Who won the weekend and our extreme overreactions? These are going to be fun today. These are going to be great.
They will be. And if you think that earlier was crazy, wait till I get to this.
Let's do that when we come back on Sports Time on Sports 56 98.5.
It's a new show with a new time, but Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane are back with Sports 56 Grind Time. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
The original hot dog factory and Spike's Wing, located at 4265 Hex Cross Road near 385. The menu offers a variety of all-beef hot dogs with over 20 choices. Try some of the best-selling favorites like the bacon wrap Memphis dog and even sausages like street Polish, Italian, or Jamaican jerk chicken. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 11 till 10, and Sunday, 11 to 8. Catering and event hosting is available. Have your next meeting or family gathering at the original hot dog factory. Now hiring team members. Apply in person. The original hot dog factory and Spike's Wing.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
At Lowe's, we believe fashion and function should live together, especially when it comes to flooring. That's why we put together a showroom with the top stylish brands like Bruce Hardwood, SmartCore Luxury Vinyl, and Satori Tile, all known for their reliable durability. See everything our showroom has in store for you. Order now and get it installed with help from Lowe's. Home to any budget, home to any possibility. Install available in-store only and through independent contractors. See Lowe's.com for details and licensing. U.S. only.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wallow said hello.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
College football, NFL winners of the weekend, an extreme overreaction for both sports. And we want yours at 901-360-8255 at the AutoZone text line. At All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, the showroom is packed, and it is beautiful on the lot. If you want that new Tahoe or Silverado, All-Star Chevrolet, they have them. All the best right there in Olive Branch, right off Highway 78, Kraft Goodman Road, where all the Chevys are. A lot of new Tahoes and new Chevys. They're on the way. So claim yours now or order what you want today. Remember, it's not South Haven. It's not the Pike. It's not Mount Moriah. It's not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. If you want a certified pre-owned Chevy or you're looking for a specific pre-owned car or truck, ask Kevin. Ask for Jeff. Ask for Scott. Ask for Drew. Ask for anybody on that team. They'll find it and get it here for you, and they'll get it here for you really fast. If you want to sell any car, truck or SUV, All-Star will buy it, even if you owe money on it. Even if you didn't buy it from them, if it's not one of theirs, they'll bring your title. They'll write you a check today. Find new roads to All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch or see them online all the time at allstarautogroup.com.
Brett, we do have a confirmation on the text line. Thank you for this. Razorback fan says, I listened to the Razorbacks game on Saturday, 12-minute third, 12-minute fourth quarters. We also had a caller call in and said all of their bets were voided because of the 12-minute third and fourth quarters. That's sad. That makes me irrationally mad.
That blows my mind.
That's high school football. That's how
I was hoping that wouldn't be true.
That's how you treat a high school blowout, Brett. That's not how you treat at the college level. No. And I wonder, but usually those type of things, they happen because, Pine Bluff or the team that's getting whooped says, "Hey, let's shorten this down. I don't want to risk any more injury."
Then you need to never schedule that team again.
That's true. I don't blame you for having that take. There's no question. Now it's time. Let's start with winners. College football, I'll go ahead and start. I say the SEC winner this weekend. Cincy and Oklahoma struggled with terrible teams, so the top four has Bama at 3, Georgia at 1. Bama beats UT 52-24. Everything was chalk. All of the teams that were ranked got their win and did it in good fashion. So I say the SEC is the big winner of this week in college football.
Gabe, while my brain has exploded, do we ever get to the point in college basketball if you're up 45 with 4 minutes to play, we go 1 minute to play?
Slippery slope. But
that's mind blown. Brian, go ahead. I can't.
That's bad. I agree. I'm with you, Brett. I'm with you.
My college football winner of the weekend is Wake Forest, undefeated. They put up 70 points against Army. And
at
only
West
had
Point.
At West Point, only had the ball for 17 minutes and 17 seconds. And this is a team that could finish the season undefeated. Rest of their schedule, Duke, NC State, Clemson, and Boston College.
And we do have Sam Hartman. My gosh, 458 yards, 5 TDs, 0 interceptions. Real quick, though, on the other side.
Sam Hartman for Heisman? Wake's never had a Heisman winner.
Why not? He's up there as far as, he minimum 300 yards passing and 3 TDs.
Brian Piccolo, real good. Riley Skinner, real good.
On the other side of that, I do have to, every time Army comes up, they really fought in that game. Jeff Monken, he has done such a good job with that Army team. They were so bad before he got there, and he has turned them around completely.
Yes.
They're the better program. And Navy, better program than Navy. And Navy, for a while there with Ken Niumatalolo, was eons ahead of them.
My college football, who won the weekend? It was simple. His pro team didn't win on the day his jersey was retired. His college team did. Eli Manning gets a win in Oxford. They couldn't do that for him in New York at MetLife. They did Saturday in Oxford.
My NFL winner, I would imagine you guys probably have this on your short list of winners. Bengals, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. Jamar Chase, 8 receptions, 201 yards, and a TD. He's second in the NFL with 754 yards. He's fourth in TDs with 6. Joe Burrow, Phil Simms last week called him the modern-day Joe Montana, and he did nothing but almost prove it this weekend. 23 for 38, 416 yards, 3 TDs, and an INT. And get this, in the AFC, because of the Chiefs down, because they just beat the Ravens,
number 1 seed.
The Cincinnati Bengals would have the number 1 seed. They'd have the first-round
playoff tickets available.
If the season ended today. My
Hey,
gosh.
what about this magical year in Ohio football? Buckeyes in the football 4, Cincinnati Bearcats in the football 4, Cincinnati Bengals around at the end. And, that is football country.
Real quick, watching the the preseason, how it played out, and people talking about Jamar Chase, well, he's struggling with his releases. He can't catch the ball. I mean, I never am going to trust a preseason report about any rookie ever again.
Everything.
Ever
He's
again.
called everything thrown at it. Joe Burrow compared by that was who compared him to
Phil Simms.
Brady. Phil Simms compared him to Montana, right?
A bunch of people compared him to Brady. I mean, that was
but Boomer goes full Tom Brady. In 1 week, you're compared to Joe Montana, and if you just get up there as third best of those two,
416 and 3
Joe
TDs, shout out.
He won my NFL. Bryant?
I'm going to go with a team. I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans. Back-to-back big wins over the Bills and the Chiefs, even though the Chiefs haven't looked like the Chiefs this year. But, looks like the team's turning a corner, and if you look at their schedule right this second, obviously a lot will change before they see a lot of these teams. They only have 2 teams left on the schedule with an over 500 record.
Well, overreaction time. I'm ready for this.
Patrick Mahomes, NFL. He'll never play in another Super Bowl, much less win another one.
Whoa.
Or the 5 that everybody was saying he was going to win last year. When I was begging people, slow down on 5 stuff, please.
Brett was ready to go with that one.
No, Brett, I know, and I'm with him because preseason, I know that's an overreaction, of course, but preseason, I think a lot of people gave him unnecessary credit for a lot of things he was doing. I think when you look at like a lot of the quarterbacks around the NFL, Kyler Murray, Matt Stafford, they do some of the similar things that he can do, but he was the only one getting credit for it preseason.
I'm going to go back to an hour ago. I'm going to go ahead and go with it. College football playoff, all SEC, Georgia, Bama, Ole Miss, and Kentucky. There you go.
My NFL,
take that.
My NFL overreaction. Lions won't win a game. They had 2 successful punt fakes, a successful onside. Still with that, they lost to the Rams. The football gods will not allow them to get a win. They had a 64-yard, or was it 64 or 66? Justin Tucker hitting the field goal to win the game.
I think it was 64.
64-yard field goal to win the game against the Ravens, or against the Lions, Ravens versus Lions. College football, my overreaction, and I don't know if this is much of an overreaction coming from me. Get rid of the college football OT rule. That was awful. 9 OT, and it was an under in the Big Ten. I don't care if it ended 20 minutes earlier than normal. I don't care how quick it ends. It's stupid. Illinois, Penn State were so bad. It was more about who's going to get lucky.
Let's go back to ties.
Rather than who was better.
No.
I've been to some great ties. I promise y'all I have. Of course, in all those ties, all the guys in the stands were wearing ties. So that's how long ago it was.
My NFL overreaction, the Packers will win the Super Bowl, and Green Bay will trade away Aaron Rodgers in the offseason. And then my college football overreaction, Penn State, they won't win another game. And James Franklin will be on the first plane out of Happy Valley.
I
Can
honor
you
that
get hired
loss.
not winning another game?
You know what?
Can you bring that to a press
Brian
conference?
Brian Dacus is on my side on that loss to Illinois.
Yeah.
I think that there's a possibility that one's sort of
That one
ringing in
hurts.
his mind,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's starting to think, maybe leaving for USC, getting all that talent there, being probably the best program there in the Pac-12 wouldn't be all that bad. But when we come back, rest of the show, Evan Barnes at 5 o'clock, talk football and Grizzlies, Tigers football and Grizzlies, 5:30 Monday Night Football preview and pick, 5:45 Taco Bell Crunch Time. We'll be right back on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
It's time to get peace of mind with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty, and Gossett's got the goods to put you on the road today. 2021 Kia Forte, 41 MPG Highway, $249 a month. 2021 Kia Rio S Hatchback, 41 MPG ready to road trip at $258 a month. Get turbo power with 2022 Kia Soul, $267 a month. And they're not leases, you own them. Forte, $249, Rio, $258, Soul, $267. You want it? We Gossett at Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 72 months at 2.9%, $29.99 down payment. Forte, ME 409,215, MSRP 19,335. Rio, ME 427,894, MSRP 19,755. Sold in 7808,276, MSRP 20,615. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Must finance through Kia on low APR. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/31/21. Dealer stock only.
Looking for a high-efficiency planting solution? The Case IH 2150 Early Riser Planter combines the industry's most accurate planter technologies with a rugged row unit for a fast and uniform emergence. The Case IH 2150 Early Riser operates works at your speed and adapts to unique field conditions so you can maximize your yield potential. Stop in or call Mid-South Ag Equipment at 662-890-3141 to learn more. That's Mid-South Ag, your Case IH Equipment headquarters.
The final winner in Southland's free and easy car giveaway will be announced this Sunday. What? That's right. Southland Casino Racing has got just one more vehicle they're giving away. And after that, it's sayonara. If you want to win, you better go earn you some entries. Heck, 9 other people will win $500 in cash money. What? Be at Southland on Sunday to see if you win. Next drawing, Sunday, October 31st. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
I know I say this every year, but fall is the best time for Central Barbecue.
You do say that every year.
But it's true.
You say that too.
I do not.
You say fall is the perfect time of year for Central Barbecue. Nothing goes better with baseball in the NBA than Central Barbecue. And then you get all defensive when I point it out.
I do not. I don't say those things every year. You don't know everything.
Oh, and you'll also point out the smell of the slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue is the smell of autumn.
Well, it is.
I know it is. And I know you'll try to squeeze in one more mention of Central Barbecue.
Central Barbecue.
See?
You think you're so smart.
Hi, folks. I keep hearing about a shortage of good vehicles to purchase these days. Well, I can fix that. Just follow me to Auto Universe Germantown. I was blown away by the amount of high-quality vehicles they have. Something they call affordable luxury, and I would agree. And talk about variety. How about Lexus, Infiniti, Audi, Jeep, not to mention, but I will anyway, Mercedes, Nissan, Honda, Chevy, and Toyota. Tremendous pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, and they're always adding more. Hey, I know this family. They have everything we want under one roof. No haggle, affordable pricing, simplified financing, top service technicians, even collision repair. Remember the old Mazda location in Germantown? That's where they're located, 7300 Winchester, and online at eautouniverse.com. So take it from me, if you want to avoid the new car price but still want a luxury, slightly loved vehicle, head on over to Auto Universe Germantown. Would I steer you wrong? Get it? At Auto Universe Germantown, only the best make it here.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Evan Barnes from the Commercial Appeal, who covers the Tigers football beat and the Grizzlies so very well for the hometown newspaper, the Commercial Appeal, the paper of record. He joins us next after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour, and that's our friends at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road at 5704 Goodman Road. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. You can check out all the referrals online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Get down there and check out the cars. All are test-driven, all thoroughly inspected, bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll go find the special car for you however they have to. No shortcuts taken at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high pressure, but they care about your time and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. Walk in within 45 minutes, test drive a car, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone. They keep it that simple because they know we live in a world today that time really matters, and you could go right now and be home in plenty of time to have dinner, get ready for a Monday night of Monday Night Football, all down at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
He is our guy from the CA, Evan Barnes, at Evan_B on Twitter. Evan, how's it going, man?
I'm good, Gabe. Steph, how you feeling?
Really well, really well.
It was kind of the for your two beats. I mean, polar opposites. Grizzlies riding as high as possible Tigers, this is really
and who
fragile
factored
territory.
that a month ago? Who thought this last weekend would be a Grizzlies dominant weekend and not Tiger football?
You want to be honest? I kind of figured that this month would be the hardest month of the year for the Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we didn't think at the time that this would be this bad, but I figured it could be a hard month. Before the year, I thought that either Temple or Tulsa, one of those two games would be a loss, just because for some reason I was concerned.
Right.
The UCF game I thought would be a loss, but of course we didn't realize how just tough the UCF game got the minute we got to the stadium and we saw Seth Hennigan barely throwing the ball around. So it was a very, at this point for Memphis right now, it's trying to either stay healthy and find answers. And basically it's a two-front war of trying to get things together.
And I think there's a lot of things you can chalk up some of the losses this season to. I think the little things, like I hate to sound so corny and so football guy-ish, but to say the little things have not gone the right way for the Tigers is an understatement. Injuries have hurt them. Special teams play has not been great. They haven't been able to kick the ball, but just the little tiny things. Getting off the field on third down hasn't been great. But this game in particular against UCF, I thought Peter Parrish competed. I thought he did whatever he could within his skill set, but he just does not seem to have what it takes throwing the ball wise to keep this Memphis offense in games.
Yeah, and obviously, Peter Parrish, let us know that this is the first time he had started a football game in 3 years. So clearly he had not had that live experience, and it showed just with some of the things he was doing. But again, I don't really blame him as much because, again, he's a guy who was the fourth-string quarterback.
He competed, though.
Yeah, I mean, he did what he could. He did what he could. He ran. He was elusive on third down. But eventually UCF adjusted. And, I mean, again, it's kind of like one of my favorite radio headlines. The best you can is good enough. And that's all Peter Parrish can do. So really, that game was pretty much doomed almost the minute he started just because you knew already you weren't going to throw the ball. So that meant Calvin Austin, Sean Dykes were basically out of the equation in terms of being good weapons.
Tough question here. I don't think it's a tough answer. I've said it. Is there any game do you think the Tigers could win if their offense is run by Peter Parrish the rest of the way?
No, not at all. Because if you look at the next four games, all four of those games, and I wrote this in my follow story. All four of those games have quarterbacks ranked in the top 50 in yards per game. You got to outscore those guys. And if with the way the offense was under Peter Parrish, where they could not move the ball downfield, and they were basically a one-dimensional run team with short passes, they can't win a game. And I think it's just a matter of, hey, it's not Peter Parrish's fault. It's a matter of, I think, this offense just isn't designed for someone like him to be able to either show his gifts or hide some of his deficiencies. Because again, my question for me is, why did Brandon Thomas only get 5 carries? To me, seeing how much he got hit, you call some players and say, look, Brandon Thomas, you take some of these carries because we don't need Peter Parrish getting hurt, especially when you don't have another healthy scholarship quarterback. You are either going to have 2 walk-ons basically as your emergency backup. So to me, that's something that I thought was on the coaches in terms of, if you want to try to use Parrish, you got to split the carries, otherwise he's going to take a lot of hits. And he got sacked, I believe, 6 times. So, you could say, well, he was running around out there. Well, to me, you call some design runs.
That UCF,
you call some runs, spare him from getting hit.
That UCF D-line was just teeing off by the end of the game. Just teeing off completely. You could say all you want about the O-line not holding up, but when you get in a game with a quarterback who's not threatening you downfield, those D-linemen pin their ears back and just come after him as hard as possible. And it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah, and then, again, bless his heart, but again, the Memphis O-line, struggled against that D-line. That's why I thought the game was going to be a struggle anyway, because UCF always has, big dudes up front. UCF always has, speedy guys on the outside for receivers and DBs, and they can tackle well in space. So it basically was a matchup where you had 2 offenses that were basically struggling the whole game, and outside of UCF getting 2 big plays, if you want to call them that, because really a 31-yard touchdown run that put the game away, that's not a big play that we know from UCF. That's like an average big play for them, Yeah. But, I mean, that's kind of what it was. It was an ugly game. You saw 2 quarterbacks that just really couldn't get it really well done. But Memphis, unfortunately, the turnovers, the defense getting worn down by the UCF run game, all of that stuff is factored into another game where here they sit at 4-4 for the first time in 3 years.
Yeah, and we knew going into this open date that this last four, with a healthy Grant Gunnell, with a healthy Seth Hennigan, with almost anything out there at quarterback, this last four was going to be a challenge. 3 at home, SMU, East Carolina, and Tulane, and the big road trip to Houston. Evan, I don't want to get too far ahead on 0-4 talk down the stretch, but if it occurred, that's 12-12 over 2 years for Ryan Silverfield. COVID, injuries, basketball monster could take over. How do you think the public will accept it? How do you think Tigers fans would accept it? The loyalists on Tiger Lane, how would it be accepted?
So you're asking just for now, if Memphis goes winless, what will fans think?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure because, again, we've already seen how the fans kind of tuned out at the Navy game. That crowd wasn't a great crowd. We saw this morning that the Memphis-SMU game is an 11 o'clock game, which means that crowd is really going to not probably be a great crowd.
And that hurts everybody in the sport, 11 o'clock.
Yeah, no, 11 o'clock games. I
love me some 11 o'clock games. I'm
know
sorry.
He talked about it, and yeah, it's great to be done early. You can enjoy the rest of your night. But getting up at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning for that,
I hear you.
I'm not an early riser, I'll tell you that. But to your question, Staff, like if Memphis were to go winless, I think people would be very much annoyed. They'd be freaking out. They'd be concerned. And you also have to factor this: everything that's going along with realignment right now probably heightens the powers that be, probably thinking about things down the road. Now, do I think Silverfield's job is in jeopardy? No. I don't think, as you said, 12-12 in 2 years. You don't fire a coach who's 500. You take into account everything. So I'm not even going to entertain that discussion. But I will say that that Memphis, they have to find it. I will say this: 6-6 is going to be tough. Like winning 3 of these next 4 games will be tough.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the question is going to be is not so much the worst case scenario, but what is the best case scenario? And I think 6-6 is what you would hope for, but there's another scenario where you lose 3 of these games. So that's going to be my concern: is whether Seth Hennigan is healthy or not to play. And right now, he'll be limited this week in practice. So Phil told us we don't know what his status is going to be just yet. But at this point, whether he plays or not, it's going to be a case of can Memphis even score enough, or can they take care of the ball enough to keep themselves in these games?
Mm-hmm. And we talked about it earlier in the show: 4-8, 5-7, 6-6. That's not just step. It's not a step back. That's steps back. That's several steps back. And with that, I know you just talked about Coach Silverfield, and his job security. But when you take steps back like that, there may be leadership changes elsewhere. Where do you think that those would come from? Defense, special teams? Who else would be probably the casualty of a season like that?
If I can be honest, I would rather wait a little bit to get into that, only because I have some ideas, but I would say that for me.
Understood.
Let's see how this plays out, because honestly, if things turn around in the next 4 games, perhaps people but
different conversation.
Yes.
But I will say this to your point, Gabe, that it wouldn't be surprised if we do see some shakeups, just because I think people are going to want to see some kind of change, because if continuity keeps coming up. If continuity sticks around for another year, you're not going to have a lot of people excited or inspired. So there might be some changes, but again, I'm not going to get into speculating on job security. But I will say that it's not a reach, because we've seen programs basically make decisions.
That's what they do now. I mean, as far as continuity goes, you want to keep continuity, but when you start losing games that you don't necessarily want to lose, D coordinators, offensive coordinators, special teams coordinators usually are the casualty of those things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, obviously, the one obvious thing is you look at the defense and you say the defense with all those veterans has been a worse unit than last year. And so that's probably the question. But again, let's see how this plays out before we start looking around and saying, whose heads are going to roll over this.
Evan, let's switch to the Grizzlies, regardless of what happens on the rest of this road trip. It's been a fun road trip. Got a win, tough loss last night to the Lakers. Ja Morant distinguishing himself as the quintessential marketplace superstar that we've dreamed of here in Memphis. With that, how should that be received next Saturday night, the second home game of the year? Should, on a Saturday night, Tigers aren't playing, open date for the Tigers, not No games in Oxford, no game in Fayetteville. I don't think a game in Knoxville. No game in Knoxville. Their open date. Saturday night at FedEx Forum should be Ja Mania, shouldn't it?
I'll be honest with you, it should be Ja Mania even if there were games playing, to be honest with you.
Amen.
Like,
You're right. That's the right answer.
Let's be honest. Like, Ja Morant, these first 3 games, has been playing at an all-star type level the way that people thought he would play
level
this year. Yeah, he's playing at a level that people who said this guy can take a leap to contend for the all-star team, he's doing exactly what people said he was going to do, and he believes he was going to do. So for me, I would say every game now, and to quote what Josh told us before the season opener, you got to come to the game or watch the game and see what he does next. Because to tell people about it, you could do that. But see this guy play. I mean, last night's game, you literally saw people talking about a late Sunday night game in Los Angeles where Ja Morant was the best player on the court on a team with year 19 LeBron James, Anthony Davis, year 19 Carmelo Anthony putting up 28 points, Russell Westbrook. Ja Morant was the best player on the court, had those highlights.
He was the
all
show.
That stuff. Yeah, and people saw it. Like Carmelo Anthony praised him and saying he's the future of the NBA. I mean, Magic Johnson praised him. At this point, I think Grizzlies fans know what they have in Ja Morant, and now I think it's going to be a case of, hey, when more people realize it, they're going to come to the game. So I think Saturday, and again, it's against the Miami Heat. Miami's got a good team. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, who said that he deserves to be in the same conversation as Ja Morant. So it should be a fun game on Saturday, and I can't wait to see it.
Hey, Tyler Hero's. He's early in the season. He's scoring a lot of points though too. So we'll see how he's
got a lot of confidence.
Yes, he does. We'll see how he keeps that up. Now, one of the big debates I think going into the season is transitioning from Jonas Valanciunas, who's your second leading scorer, who was sort of the heart of the team last year for a lot of the year, transitioning from him to Steven Adams. Should there be any concern anymore? I know it's been 3 games. But Steven Adams, double-double last night. He moves the ball relatively well. Should the concerns about that transition be eased?
I think there's still going to be some questions because, again, Jonas Valanciunas was an automatic bucket in the middle. Automatic. You throw it to him, he can get you a bucket the same way that Zach Randolph can get you a bucket. That's what his role was. Now, Steven Adams gives you something more different because he doesn't stay camped down the post. He can come out to the high elbow. He can find cutters. He can, hand guys off the ball off the dribble. He does a lot of things well to keep the offense moving and spacing the floor really well. But I will say, let's see what happens over the course of the next few games. I think right now he's obviously been a great help rebounding, and I didn't think there was going to be a drop-off rebounding, but Adams is clearly not the offensive player that Valanciunas is. However, he is part of a lineup that is crushing it in terms of net rating, crushing it in terms of offensive rating. So he's doing a good job within his role in this offense. But I don't think people should try to say, well, who was better or whatever. Right now, this is where things are. He's finding his way. He's figuring things out. He hasn't played really bad in 3 games. So I would say enjoy it. It's been a good, good introduction. And once he gets more acclimated, I think you're going to see games where he flirts with maybe 6 or 7 assists. Just because he can find guys who can shoot and get to the basket.
And screen-wise, he set some fantastic screens. I know that's sort of the ugly part of the game. People don't really pay attention to that all the time. But he has done a great job at giving Ja and a lot of those guards a lot of space.
It's grown man screens.
Right. And when you're looking at DeAnthony Melton and Desmond Bane averaging 19 points a game, DeAnthony Melton at 18 so far through 3 games. Do you think that part of that is because Steven Adams may not be as demanding offensively?
I would credit those 2 guys making strides
more.
Because those 2 guys, I think, would put up points, whether Adams was in there or Valanciunas was in there. Because you look at Desmond Bane, and he has looked like somebody who's more confident in what he can do on the floor. He can put the ball on the floor a lot better. He's getting to the basket a lot more. I see something coming up pretty soon on Desmond Bane, just kind of how that change came about. But he made those strides, and it wouldn't have mattered if JD was in there or not. And the same thing with DeAnthony Melton, where now he's in year 2 of this refined shooting stroke that he has. He looks more confident out there. He is, being a bulldog on defense. But I don't feel like those two guys are definitely benefiting from Steven Adams being out there. But I also think those 2 guys are benefiting from more minutes, showing what they could do with more time. And honestly, it was a decision that needed to be made because you watched that team last year. You can easily see that, hey, Melton needs more minutes. Bain needed more minutes in year 2. Not saying he needed more last year, but he was going to need more minutes because that's shooting you need to have on the floor as much as you can.
Very true. With Grayson out the door as well, that's definitely something you knew that was going to happen.
When do we get a Dylan Brooks update?
Well, I believe 2 weeks. The 2-week window for Dylan Brooks, I believe, is Tuesday. The Grizzlies say he will be out at least 2 to 3 weeks with a fractured hand injury. So basically, we're waiting on the Grizzlies now to give us an update at this point, and we'll have availability with Taylor Jenkins before the game on Wednesday because with shoot-arounds they don't have those on or practice they don't have those on Zoom. So we'll see on Wednesday if there's anything to say. But obviously, we're still waiting on the Grizzlies to give us an update. But it should be at least now. We're in that 2 to 3 week window where we should be hearing some type of update on Dylan Brooks. I think the last time we saw him in practice, he was wearing a pretty nice cast on his hand. So I guess we will see what happens. But yeah, that's where we got on that.
Your best feel of who would move to the bench if he does come back in the lineup? Probably DeAnthony Melton.
That's probably what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Just because it's not because of Melton playing bad at all, but frankly, the bench needs somebody who can give them a spark, and DeAnthony Melton can do that just because he knows how to come off the bench, come off hitting shots, gives you the defensive boost that's there. And I think with Bain, you have a much taller lineup with Ja, Bain, and Dylan out there, just because both Dylan and Bain are 6'6". So that gives you a little bit more because honestly, with DeAnthony out there, you have 2 guards who are under 6'4", and Paul George was just teeing off scoring because of that. So I think you want to have a bigger starting lineup. And also, let's be honest, the Grizzlies' defense has not been great, and that's part of Dylan Brooks not being there. So you bring in Dylan Brooks back, that gives you more defense up front. DeAnthony Melton off the bench, that gives you more defense on the back end. So I think that's probably what's going to happen once Dylan Brooks gets healthy. But at the same time, if DeAnthony Melton is the one off the bench, I would say get ready to start that 6 Man of the Year campaign if Melton hit shots like this.
Yep, he's our guy from the CA covering Tigers football and the Grizzlies, Evan Barnes. Thanks, Evan.
Appreciate you guys. Y'all take care.
You too, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Evan. Just so solid as always. Monday Night Football approaching. We have the game right here if you want to listen to Westwood One. But also if you want to gather up and have a nice night out, perfect place to do it, the new Collierville Commissary. Take it outside at Houston Levy and Poplar or inside, traditional, original, in Germantown. Either way, the great commissary food, the Memphis-style barbecue and ribs that we've come to know and love over all of these 40-some-odd years now from either place, the new Collierville Commissary at Houston Levy or the original in Germantown. Start that feast with the great appetizers that almost are like an entree, the cheese plate, the tamales, the barbecue nachos. Don't forget about the salads as well at the commissary. I'm sorry, I'm remiss sometimes in reminding you, don't forget about them. The smoked chicken wings, fantastic. Then the ribs, nobody forgets about those, or the shoulder. Get it chopped or pulled on a sandwich, a big sandwich, or you can get it on the plate, all the fixings, beans, slaw, deviled eggs, bread as well. And it's time. It's sign-up time for the Holiday Bird. You do it the first holiday, promise you'll do it the second holiday as well. And don't forget the party packs for tailgating or for parties, 6-pack, 8-pack, 12-pack. And the desserts, great lemon icebox pie and the terrific banana pudding. 901-754-5540. Online at commissarybbq.com in Collierville. If you're craving an easier way to order, commissarybbq.com or text commissary to 33733. Text commissary to 33733. Take it outside tonight for Monday Night Football or order it up now or go by either place for dinner time. Either place, the new Collierville Commissary at Houston Levy or the original in Germantown.
Couple of pieces of NFL news before we make our picks on the other side. Packers defensive coordinator Joe Barry has tested positive for COVID-19, so Thursday Night Football, which is a good one, Packers at Cardinals, he will not be on the sideline for. Devontae Adams as well has been placed on the COVID-19 list. He is vaccinated, so he could clear it, but he is on it as of right this second. Matt Nagy as well has tested positive for COVID-19, so he goes on the COVID-19 list. And then I would be remiss if I didn't mention this throughout the show at some point. Deshaun Watson. We have another name in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, I guess I'll call him. We talked about the Dolphins last week. being the front runners to go and try and get Deshaun Watson before the November 2nd trade deadline, but the Panthers now have joined into this conversation. A couple weeks ago, we wouldn't have thought the Panthers with the way Sam Darnold was playing, but the past 2 weeks, he's been miserably bad.
That's kind of back into the Carolinas from college days, and a fresh start might be good for him there.
Yes. But when we come back, we have Monday Night Football. New Orleans, the Saints at Seattle, going into the 12th man, going into Seattle to face the Seahawks. Both teams are in very dire need of a win. We'll make our picks, do our preview on that, and give you our big four defensive players from each team when we come back on Sports 56 98.5.
Hi, everyone. This is Greg Gaston. After 16-plus years coming to you during the midday hours, Eli Savoy and I have moved to the morning drive. You can join us weekdays from 7 to 10 a.m. for the all-new Sports 56 mornings, only on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Rich Eisen from Monday Night Football on Westwood One here with a preview of NFC action coming up from Seattle with the Seahawks taking on the Saints. Jameis Winston in New Orleans coming off their bye week and looking to improve on their 3-2 season start. Seattle is, of course, without Russell Wilson coming off a tough overtime loss to the Steelers. Hoping to lead the Seahawks to their first home win of the season, Geno Smith will be under center.
We can't keep coming up short. I can't keep coming up short, I put that on myself, and I vow to be better. But one thing I know about this team, if we're not going to hang our heads, we're going to bounce back. We're going to find a way to bounce back and get a win.
Kevin Harlan and Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner will have all the action from Seattle when the Seahawks host the Saints on Monday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
Hey, frequent heartburn may keep you from running your A game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to prilosecotc.com. You'll get $3 off to get you started, plus 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, zero heartburn. Go to prilosecotc.com and sign up today. Zero heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
The Relax at Home sale's going on now at Family Leisure. Enjoy a game of pool. How about shuffleboard with friends and family? Relieving aching muscles with full body massage chairs. They're the coolest. Chill out and watch a movie. Or the big game in style with the new theater seating. Also on sale, we got spas and saunas and patio furniture. It's the Family Leisure Relax at Home sale. Going on now, I-40 and Wynn Road, Family Leisure. For family and fun, come together.
I got him on the line, Jeff Allen, the king of happy at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
Hey folks, need a new ride that gets 41 MPG? 2021 Kia Forte, $249 a month.
2021 Kia Rio S hatchback, 41 MPG, only $258 a month. Plus a 2022 turbocharged Kia Soul, ready for that road trip at $267 a month.
Plus, you'll always get Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty program. Remember, Forte $249, Rio $258, Soul $267. And don't sell your trade till you check with us.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 72 months at 2.9%, $29.99 down payment. Forte, ME 409-215, MSRP 19,335. Rio, ME 427,894, MSRP 19,755. Soul, N 7808-276, MSRP 20,615. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Must finance through Kia on low APR. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/31/21. Dealer stock only.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Brett, things in the restaurant are fine, but like all restaurateurs will tell you, things are still not back to normal. Supply chains are interrupted. One week we can't find charcoal. Another week we're short on ribs. Another week they can't find the plastic bottles to fill our sauce jars with. I've watched in awe as our fellow Memphis restaurateurs have worked their way through these past months.
John, always new and exciting things at the Rendezvous.
People know we have Greek salad, vegetarian red beans and rice, and vegetarian nachos. But now we have desserts. Miss Barbara of O Taste and See has individually wrapped some wonderful desserts. We have key lime pie, chess pie, chocolate chess pie, and pecan pie. Not pecan pie, pecan pie. We also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes the mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Well, it started out down a dirty road.
Almost to the end of this Monday edition of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Brian
That was
Dacus,
quick.
Brian,
That was a quick one.
Brian Dacus producing the program. If you want to hit the listener line, 901-360-8255. Also watch us live, message us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. We have our Monday Night Football picks and preview coming up. Get those picks in. Let us know what you have. The Saints are visiting Seattle tonight.
Do you trust Jameis at the home of the 12th man?
Trusting Jameis at this point, I don't know. Just because
Patrick Willis told us Saturday, loudest stadium in the NFL in Seattle.
I've been
the only
there,
thing that touches Tiger Stadium in the NFL is Seattle.
You don't know what you're getting out of Jameis week to week. And I don't know if they've really taken the training wheels off of Jameis yet, have they? I feel like Sean Payton's giving him high percentage throws to make.
Which is good.
The most
in kind of the reconstruction of Jameis.
I mean, the most he's thrown for in a game is about 200 yards. I mean, he has not been putting up the type of stats he was putting up when he was in Tampa Bay. Not even close, because they were letting him just Arians was letting him rear back
and maybe a lot of
throw
bad habits developed out of that freedom in Tampa Bay.
Yes, I would imagine so. And I don't doubt in any way, shape, or form that Sean Payton can coach this out of him. Jameis Winston was a tremendous talent.
I'm still Team Jameis. I still think greatness is there.
Yes, but over the years, I think we've sort of talked ourselves out of it just because of how many picks he threw. And I thought did you ever think the LASIK eye surgery was going to help him out? Seems to have helped him out a little bit.
Yeah.
So far this year, 12 TDs, 3 INTs. They're only 3-2, though.
I do think in any sports building, it's big to get a good eye test.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I think it is major because there have been receivers that couldn't see. Well, it's hard to catch when you can't see well.
Like I said, I had no idea I had bad eyes until I was told to go get an eye test. at the University of Memphis. Had no idea. I was squinting at everything.
What coach told you?
Silverfield. Coach Silverfield.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. He was my position coach there, obviously. So he saw me squinting at the board every day, even in the front row. But, no, I agree with you. And Jameis gets a chance tonight to go into a hostile environment and sort of prove his worth. The Saints are 4.5-point favorites. It started at 5.
All right, pick time. First of all, let me give you the update. Over the weekend, I went 3-3 in college. Gabe, you go 3-3. We're both 24-25 for the year in college. Bryant goes 4-2. He is 25-24 for the year in the NFL. Bryant goes 4-2.
Don't tell me my record.
I'm sorry.
We don't need to know my record.
Bryant goes 2-3. I go 4-1. You go 1-4 in the NFL.
It was ugly. It was an ugly one.
NFL for the year. I'm 19 up, 19 down. Bryant's 19-19. You're 18-20. We're all in the same neighborhood.
I got beat by the hook on the Cleveland-Denver game. KC never stood a remote chance. And by the way, before we get into picks, what is going on in Kansas City? 3-4 now.
O-line play shaky, defense shakier.
I think, though, when you look at the rest of the NFL and what they're doing to Patrick Mahomes, they're sitting in deep zones and telling him, hey, dink and dunk down the field. You're not going to get this whole shot on me with Tyreek Hill over the top. You're just not. I'm not going to let you do it. And they are right now -10 in the turnover ratio. That's the worst in the NFL, tied with the Jags. You don't want to be in Jags category with anything. And they have 17 turnovers, which is the most by 5 full turnovers.
Here's one great area the Jags lead in: frequent flyer miles flying to London.
Well, they got they should just play over there. Honestly,
yeah. They're prolific with that.
They want to put them in London for good? Their only win came in London this year.
New Orleans, a 4.5-point road favorite. Bryant Dacus, since you lead with 8 points with the modified Stableford scoring system, you pick first.
I'm going to go Seattle plus 4.5.
You like Gina?
Gabe. Yeah.
I'm going Saints -4.5. I'm different.
These quarterbacks on Monday Night Football. I'm going with Seattle. Give me that crowd, that fandom plus the 4.5.
And the weather, by the way, is supposed to sort of turn.
Well, of course it is. They've had the big one out there.
55
that weather
degrees.
last night.
It'll be very similar to what we saw last night. 55 degrees and rainy in Seattle tonight.
That in Santa Clara last night. It was Forrest Gump raining upside down.
And they couldn't make a play. Neither of the quarterbacks could hold on to the damn ball. It was terrible.
The ball was everywhere. All right, that stadium, that city, it has produced defensive players. Who wants to go to first on the Big Four in the history of Seattle defenses?
Let's go with Bryant Dacus. Bryant Dacus, you started off.
Yeah. So I went more with the more recent guys.
There's some good ones.
Guys of my
So
childhood.
no Kenny Easley on here, huh?
No, but he was right outside the list.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start off number 4, Richard Sherman. Number 3, Bobby Wagner. Number 2, Earl Thomas. And then number 1, not recent guy, but had to put him in there, Cortez Kennedy.
Big Cortez from this listening area, from Wilson, Arkansas. Played high school. Went to Northwest Mississippi.
Yep.
Sure did.
Yep.
And everybody recruited Cortez. The stories are legendary. Fun-loving guy, the late Cortez Kennedy.
Yep.
And at a Rivercrest High School over at Wilson, a great player. He's clearly number one for me. Kenny Easley, too, just went in the Hall of Fame. For a long time, I thought Kenny Easley was the best defensive back I ever saw play to a guy named Primetime came along. Number 3, Bobby Wagner. Number 4, Old Texas Aggie, Jacob Green, defensive end.
Okay. Earl Thomas, that was one I had trouble putting on just because of everything that just transpired with him. And he had a really weird the story of him and his brother at the Airbnb. It's hard for me to get over. But I maybe he is one of the best Seahawks defensive players of all time.
Childhood, Gabe. My childhood.
He ruined that pretty quickly. The child in you, based on what he did in the Airbnb with his brother, I think your childhood is pretty ruined.
A lot to pick from Seattle historically defenses.
Oh, yeah.
Number 1 for me.
Nobody has Brian Bosworth, do they?
No.
Okay.
Did he even get to a Pro Bowl in his NFL
No,
career? Not even close. Number 1, Bobby Wagner, 7-time Pro Bowler, 6-time All-Pro, tackle champ 2 times, Super Bowl, was very big in that Super Bowl season for them. 2, Cortez Kennedy, rest in peace, Cortez Kennedy, Hall of Famer, 3-time All-Pro, and also from the listening area. Yes, Northwest Mississippi Community College. That's pretty impressive. Probably their most decorated. I mean, as far as NFL goes, got to be their most decorated.
Hall of Famer,
3, Kenny Easley, Hall of Famer. Interception champ in 1984. Did he win? He won Defensive Player of the Year too, right?
And he was great at UCLA.
Yeah, Kenny Easley's a Defensive Player of the Year too. And 4, I went Richard Sherman, Super Bowl 3-time All-Pro. And he's never been like the man cover guy, though. He's always been very good within a system.
And they had a Super Bowl MVP on the defensive side, Malcolm Smith, that got no merit of us, but really good.
He's on an active roster somewhere. He was with the Jaguars most recently.
Yeah.
But
MVP of a Super Bowl.
That's one of the more obscure
defense. Yeah.
The farther we get away from it, one of the most obscure Super Bowl MVPs of all time.
One of his obscure games, 43-8 to score a Jami game. Is it Jami or Gami?
Gami.
Score-a-gami.
Like origami, score-a-gami.
When I went new word, didn't I? I went score a Jami. It's Monday afternoon and it's late. All right, Saints, go ahead. Anybody?
Take us.
All right, number 4, Cam Jordan. Number 3, Pat Swilling. Number 2, Wayne Martin. And number 1, Ricky Jackson.
Ooh, I love. I love that list. A little different in the order, but I'm not going to throw down over it, Gabe.
I'm going to go 1, Ricky Jackson. I feel like for everybody, he should be number 1. By the way, little quick stat: top 10 all time forced fumbles.
He is. That's good stuff.
That's a
good
stat there. 2, Sam Mills. He was tiny, by the way.
That's my list.
Sam Mills
saw him in the USFL.
Guy.
I remember him, and that's where he connected with Jim Mora.
I mean, that's impressive to be that sort of stout of a linebacker and last that long. 3, Cameron Jordan. 4, I go Pat Swilling.
We go 1, 2, 3 exactly, Gabe Kuhn, and then I deviate with another from the listening area from Cross County in Arkansas, but not Wynn High School like D'Angelo Williams, but Cross County High School. I go Wayne Martin.
Okay.
So Ricky Jackson, Sam Mills, Cameron Jordan, Wayne Martin.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Pat.
What about the listening area and the defensive tackles?
Pat's
and Arkansas potentially could have had Wayne Martin and Big Tez there at the same time, and
they could have,
and didn't get Cortez out of high school or JUCO.
Pat Swilling was one of the earlier sort of Von Miller types, where he was very good off the edge.
Great comparison.
But obviously I think Von Miller, as far as athleticism and everything, with nowadays game, it's tougher to come off the edge and get a bunch of sacks. But
I think opening night, Pat Swilling's son is playing, or maybe is it a nephew? There's the Swilling at Georgia Tech now.
Really?
I saw him opening night against Northern Illinois, and Northern Illinois' season's kind of holding up pretty good.
What's he playing? Defense, offense? Corner? Okay.
I think.
Yeah. But no, Pat Swilling, I mean, looking back on it and with the position he played, he was I was almost trailblazing time for that position.
It really was. Bring him into the box.
Yeah, but he could also cover the flat, and he comes after the quarterback all the time, and 15-plus sacks a year type guy. So that is definitely interesting. One of the trailblazers for that.
A lot of money for that guy that can come into the box and play tackle football and then run and cover.
Well, if you can go get after the quarterback nowadays, you're going to make money. I don't care who you are. If you can bend the edge and go tackle the quarterback, get forced turnovers, you're going to be a multimillionaire guy.
The old move them off their spot.
Yep. And I say this all the time because look at Tom Brady. If you invested more in your interior D-line, your D-line becomes automatically better. If you can stuff the run the way the Buccaneers have done it. The Buccaneers.
Look what the last 2 years, the Bengals have spent $230 million in free agency on defense.
Yes.
That used to would buy a team.
And look at it right this second. They still have not spent money on O-line. And that
would buy a team and build a stadium.
Obviously a tough trend, but Jamar Chase, when he was drafted, everyone was yelling at the top of their lungs at the Bengals, saying that was a dumb pick considering what they had on the board as far as O-linemen went. Penei Sewell was still out there, but that has worked out for them. But I go Saints tonight. Y'all are fading me. Probably not a bad choice.
Also, it's Pat Swilling's son, Trey Swilling, is at Georgia Tech. He's a defensive back, redshirt junior defensive back.
I swear I thought he was Pat.
That's pretty cool.
It was a long time ago. It was only opening weekend this year.
One more thing here before we get to our final segment in crunch time. Eagles are trading Joe Flacco, to the Jets for a conditional pick. 6th-round
Poor
pick.
Drew Barrett. Always carrying the elite banner for Joe Flacco. He was a Super Bowl MVP. No, he was not. He was not. Flacco did not win MVP, did he?
Are we sure? I'm pretty sure he did. right?
Did he get the one in New Orleans against the 49ers?
Hold up. I'm pretty sure.
He may have.
I'm pretty sure he was, because he had a good just in
yeah,
general.
Ray Lewis got
Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, he just had a very good playoffs that year.
Well, I'm really slipping. Was that when he couldn't remember 8 weeks ago, opening weekend,
honestly,
Young Swilling's name?
best football he ever played was in that
was
postseason.
That year. Yeah.
In that postseason.
Beat Peyton.
But the Jets are in need of a quarterback, though, because Zach Wilson's out 2 to 4 weeks with a sprained PCL.
You signed Cam?
All right. I guess we'll have this conversation. Cam Newton, I love Cam Newton as a player. And I think his best days are behind him. But here's my issue: if you sign Cam, I feel like you have a spotlight on as a backup, you have a spotlight on your backup quarterback position. And I don't think any coach is really that willing to do that in this day and age.
That's
and
a
I know
good case to be made.
That may sound wrong to some people.
That was a lot of the resistance to signing Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah,
you want that much noise about your backup.
Yes, and there's going to be imagine the pressure on that starting quarterback.
In New York makes it noisy.
And Cam Newton had he had, and this is another point, Cam Newton, right when he got cut and released by the Patriots, sat down with his dad on his high school field and had a big sort of explanation as to why he got released. And I agree with part of it. There was so much pressure. You can't put that much pressure on a starting quarterback or a rookie quarterback, because as soon as that rookie quarterback starts to struggle, what is everybody in the media, everybody on social media, everybody talking about? Put in Cam Newton. So I think that from a football standpoint, he could be a backup, but you just sort of wonder how coaches are responding to sort of the way he acts. And I'm not saying that in a way to say he's a me guy, because I don't think that. I think that's an unfair narrative that's been put on him. But I do think it is a distraction to a certain extent. When we come back, though, it's time to put a wrap on this show with Taco Bell Crunch Time right here on Sports 56 98.5.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Tiger Nation, your 2021 NIT champion Memphis Tigers are back and ready to make a splash in the American Conference. Season tickets are on sale now. Don't miss a minute of the action with the #1 recruiting class and a brand new coaching staff with Hall of Famer Larry Brown and former NBA star Rasheed Wallace. To lock in your seats for all the action and excitement, call 901-678-2331 or visit GoTigersGoTix.com today.
Maureen saved big shopping epic daily deals at Amazon. So now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. And with her brand new tableware, everyone's welcome at Maureen's table. All of her family, friends, even her neighbor with the pet. Hey, has anyone seen a ferret around here? Found it. Dig into Amazon's epic daily deals. Spend less, smile more.
Looking for some action? Sports gambling is legal in Tennessee. Action247.com. Local, legal. A sportsbook by Tennesseans, for Tennesseans. Go to Action247.com. Register and place your bets. Are you a sharp or a first-time bettor? Action 24/7 has you covered. Visit us online at Action247.com. Local, legal. Action 24/7. You got action.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
They say this game can take you far. Your moves can take you further. Make moves that start movements.
Hennessy, spirit of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that PIN, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time, as simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Couple of texts here on the AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255. Before we get to crunch time, someone said Swilling Suns Trey play at Georgia Tech, go Jackets. So we do have someone confirm that. Someone says they don't have a top 4, but they have a top 2 of Saints defensive players. Sam Mills, Ricky Jackson is who they give on that one. And then our friend Keith said he's going to go Saints tonight. He has a free $10 bet. So he's going to go Saints minus the 4.5. Let's let it ride. But tonight, though, on these airwaves, 560 AM, 98.5 FM at 7 p.m., you'll be able to hear all that action. Saints at Seattle tonight in Seattle.
I do like the John Harden advice on those free bets. At whatever site you are, go something wild that you normally wouldn't do and swing for the fences.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Although,
I mean, throw that 18.
You know what people are gonna when you have a free bet, they're gonna go 10-team parlay plus 1,200. That's what they're gonna try to go to with that free bet.
And for any parlay over about 2 teams, Vegas will send a car for you.
Yeah. The likelihood of you winning that is very, very
Old Book in Far City said he didn't write them down after you said more than 2 team. If you called in and said, hey, give me a 5-teamer, okay, let him rip. He wouldn't even write them down after 2.
Let's get to crunch time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Looking for something new at Taco Bell? Try the original tacos meets the instant classic, nacho fries. There's bound to be some magic. Nacho fries are essentially building blocks for culinary imagination. Slightly seasoned, go with bold spices. Warm nacho cheese and sour cream, loaded taco fries are covered with seasoned beef, nacho cheese sauce, ranch, tomato, and shredded cheese. In short, the legend of nacho fries lives on.
Brett, what I learned today is that not only did Mike Evans give away the 600th TD ball for Tom Brady for TB12, but the fan who had it has just gotten a whole lot because of it. He will receive 2 signed jerseys, a helmet from Tom Brady, a signed Mike Evans jersey and his game cleats, a $1,000 credit at the Bucs team store, and 2 season tickets for the remainder of the season and next. What else does he need?
$50,000 cash.
Ooh. That might be all right.
Ask. All they do is say no, and then say, how bad you want this football?
Trade in those season tickets, the signed jersey, the game cleats. Maybe you could get up to $50,000, right?
Just how bad do you want this? I mean, on every baseball ticket, any ball hit or thrown in the stands is yours.
I sort of wonder how much he was trying to haggle with them on this. He ended
didn't
up
haggle a lot.
That's quite a bit, though. That is quite a bit.
Even Jim Nance said he needed a better negotiator down there.
Needs an agent.
Yeah, don't we all? What I learned, the 2021 World Series will be managed by 66-year-old Brian Snitker and 72-year-old Dusty Baker. First World Series where both managers are 65-plus for Gabe. One oldest combined age ever for 2 World Series managers. Go get them, old guys, seasoned guys.
And we didn't get to it today, but tomorrow, 7:09, Morton versus Valdez. We will have so much to talk about.
Tomorrow.
We will make picks tomorrow, Braves and Astros. Glad to see the Braves finally break through and get into a World Series while I'm alive, at least. What I could have done without, and this is so unsurprising, but I still could have done without it. It's being reported by the Associated Press reporter Ronald Blum. Labor stoppage for the MLB is likely after the season. As many know, the CBA expires December 1st. It'll be the first time that they'll have a holdout, a lockout, a strike, whatever you want to call it, 94-95. No trust. And again, file this under most unsurprising news of the day, but still very annoying.
No trust, pure contempt from both sides. And there's a lot contemptible about the management side led by the commissioner. Could have done without this. What happened with the coach at Texas Tech today?
Right.
And Gabe, tell me, what does Texas Tech want? They ran off Mike Leach, probably should have, and all that. Then the answer was Tommy Tuberville. That's not the answer. And then they fire Cliff Kingsbury, one of theirs, who now is an undefeated head coach in the NFL. Now they fire in season, I guess, Sonny Dykes. I guess
that's the guy.
His dad, Spike, was pretty legendary there. Maybe Graham Harrell. What does Texas Tech want? Where are they? Where are they in the sports world right now?
I don't know. I mean, besides those years with Graham Harrell and Michael Crabtree, they've been irrelevant. They've been completely irrelevant. And I don't blame them for the – you can bring up the Cliff Kingsbury thing. I don't blame them for firing him. He was never all that great.
No, he wasn't.
Defensively, they were terrible. But I would have to if Sonny Dykes is not the next guy, I'd be very surprised. It seems like he has to be.
Tonight, Monday Night Football, right here, we'll be listening. Also, we get set for the World Series. A lot of fun in that one. Undefeated Bulls in Toronto.
Woo.
They can stay undefeated tonight.
In the NHL, undefeated Blues tonight against the Kings.
Go Blues.
Just had to put that in there.
Oh, of course. 4-0, 8 points. They're doing their thing.
They're looking good.
That's all we have for today. I'd like to thank David Cobb and Evan Barnes for their contributions to the program. Thank you for listening. Tomorrow we'll have Brent Beard and Bo Marchant. Make sure you have a great